gift to our patronage is most appreciated, friend.
What's up, you absolute dickheads? Our chat's working on screen again. How's it going? Welcome back, folks. I am not going to be dealing with that shit. Shut the fuck up, thank you kindly. How's it going, everybody who's not being an absolute wanker? Welcome back to the Rogue Room. Tonight we're going to be chatting to HEYLauraBlake over at twitch.tv/HeyLauraBlake, but also here at the same time. It's going to be a co-stream a little bit later on. Thought we would jump into just talking at the camera, which is what I do for a living, kind of, maybe, sort of. I should, do something more important to get this money, but, How's it going, folks? What have you been up to? Welcome back, Dream, by the way, and thank you so kindly for all those gifted subs. I'm looking super pretty. Thank you so much. You got a gym date. Oh, hell yeah. Get those gains and or romance. Hello, Silky Slinky. What's going on? Your job makes you lose your appetite so you haven't eaten in a couple of days. Oh my goodness. Go eat something. Go put some food in your mouth. Okay, so this person is going to continue just spamming me, apparently. For no fucking reason. I don't know who this idiot is. Just everyone go to that Scooby-Doo person and just block them. Just fucking ban them from the channel. They're just some spamming cunt. Get rid of them. Anyway. I hope everyone's day has been well. Mine's been tiring. Mine's been so bloody tiresome lately. Well, today it's been very tiring. Because children, I'm a parent to do that parenting thing. Thank you, Ziwa. Pardon? Okay. Yeah. Had sleep issues the last 23 years, but you need to be awake with the regular people in order to make the cash. That sucks, doesn't it? I used to have a bloody awful sleeping schedule. Let me tell you, I had the worst. The worst sleeping schedule. Absolutely atrocious. I don't know how I survived it. But I literally would stay up for days at a time. I don't know what the deal was there. Made it very difficult to go see a doctor to get treatment for insomnia when you're, generally speaking, only awake at night.
The Rogue Room appreciates your
hello.
recommendation.
Android, thank you for the host, mate. How is the smudge? He was in here. He was in here, but he left. I don't know where he went. He's looking out the window, apparently. He'll come back in at some point. If I try to get his attention, like, I think... He knows the sound of the desk drawer opening. Because I keep his laser pointer in the desk drawer. There is thunder here, apparently. But here's Smudge. Here's him. And I got my window open, so I got a bit of breeze flowing in. But here's the smidge. Look him. Isn't he cute? Alright. There you go, by the way. He wants to go. He wants to go away. What you doing? No, you can't escape me. You're stuck now. You have to take the affection. You're a cat. You have to have the affection. Anyway. Hello, Emrose. How's it going? Ow. Digging his claws into me. Oh, heck. Cat has gone. Cat has decided to leave us. What a rude animal. Why would he? How dare he? Oh, you're still here. He just jumped down because he didn't want to be in my arms. He hates me that much. Can you believe it? I can believe it because he's gotten into a really aggressive mood lately. I don't know what the deal is. Oh yeah. Oos, there you go. Get one of those in you. He's been really like scratchy and swipey and all that and bitey too. He bites. Like, what's the matter with you, you little dickhead? Huh? No, you can't. Yeah. You want one of those in, what, my arms? Jesus Christ. Well, like the whole thing? That's fairly large. I don't... Anyway, I mean, I've seen some video that suggests it might be possible, but you know, just... Around you? Yeah. We can organize that one. That's easy. You know? I did have some things I was gonna touch on tonight before we go into... Yeah, so HEYLauraBlake literally hit me up today in my DMs about joining her for a stream later on. I'm not 100% sure what we're going to be talking about, but we're going to be on Zoom. We're going to have a Zoom meeting, which we're going to be streaming on both of our channels. Which, yeah, I don't know what the particular topics at hand would be, but it's relating to Trans Awareness Week, which, again, I keep forgetting Trans Awareness Week is this week. So, forgive me, I'm terrible at this. It's after 2 AM. Go slip into a coma. Have a good one. Thank you so kindly again, Dream, for dropping those 5 gifted subs just out of nowhere in the starting soon screen when I couldn't even like properly thank you. Also, why is this saying daily subs 4 out of 5? What the heck? How does that make any sense? What is wrong with this thing? Unless one of them might have been a resub. Is it possible to gift someone a resub? I don't think so. No. I don't know then. Whatever. Doesn't matter. It's okay. Heard a meow. He's here. I don't know if he was meowing though. Was he? I don't know. Should be at 6. It could be a resub didn't pop up either. Hello, fellow transgender. We are aware of you. Now back to work. That's quite literally what it boils down to, isn't it? You know, Are You Okay Day was another one that I'm really not fond of, because, like, the few times I had to deal with Are You Okay Day in the workplace, which is, I don't know if this is a worldwide thing or if it's just an Aussie thing or whatever. Have a good one, Dream. Thank you so kindly for being here yet again. Once again. Not yet again, but whatever, you know. The thing with Are You Okay Day that bothered me was when I did have to deal with co-workers and managers and all that, trying to make Are You Okay Day into a thing under workplace conditions, because, you know, the premise is to check in on your friend's mental health. Go up to your friends and be like, are you okay? You know, you could just say that any other day, but, you know, they had to make a specific day for it. And when it came to, like, workplace conditions, they got every team member at the supermarket I was working at to gather together in the break room to have a bit of a huddle, or whatever you call it. I think they called it a huddle back when I was working there. And they gave us some whole spiel about Are You Okay Day. They did outline what the day was about, and then specifically went out of their way to explain to us that they wanted, if you see someone struggling with their tasks, to offer them a hand, or to ask people, are you getting all of your work done? Is there a way I can help you to finish all of the work that you need to be done, to make sure we are at maximum productivity and thus profitability? It was really weird and cynical. Like, honestly, I was thinking, okay, they're going to start with this, and then they're going to start talking about, you know, checking on your co-workers' mental health as well. No, it was literally just productivity the entire way through. The whole thing was just, we want to make sure that all of the jobs are getting done. Like, just robotic. It was really detached. Here's the store manager coming up to us and saying, look, we don't give a shit about your mental health, actually. We're not even going to acknowledge it. It was like, what? We've got all these signs plastered all over the store advertising Are You Okay Day. And the whole premise, of course, is check in on your friends and family. Make sure that people aren't dealing with some horrible demons that they're repressing inside of them or whatever. You know, try to offer a shoulder to cry on or something. And then behind the scenes, we've got all these little stickers all over the place and posters and all this sort of stuff. Some of the staff members were wearing pins and t-shirts. I didn't get one of those. And then, yeah, back in the break room, we're being told, make sure you do your productivity, citizen. And it's fucking weird. Haven't noticed an Are You Okay Day in New Zealand. It's like this. It's this thing. Let me find it. Here we go. Like, I don't know if you have seen this. I think it's an Australian thing. I'm not 100% certain. Are you ok? You know, it's blah. It's blue. Anyway, it's obnoxious, and it honestly, I really don't like the fact of mental health being distilled down to one single day of the year, because that's how it feels. It feels like it's one of those things that's like, let's raise awareness of mental health once and then forget about it the other 364 days. You know, no one else, we don't need to worry about mental health on the other days of the year. Just this one will do. National Personal Demons Day or Exorcism Day. That would be befitting a Christian-based society. The sign looks like the prequel to Black Friday. I feel like it should be the sequel to Black Friday. After everybody's been trampled half to death in Black Friday sales. Is it Black Friday sales? Yeah, it's Black Friday sales, isn't it? Then you go around asking everybody, oh, I'm sorry, you okay? You did take a cleat to the face. You good? After trying to get a television? We don't have, I have got the right idea, right? Like, Black Friday sales are the ones where people just absolutely go off. We didn't really have that here. We still don't really have the same degree of that kind of thing in Australia, or at least not that I know of in the suburbs. I mean, it might be prevalent in bigger inner city areas, but not to my knowledge. Anyway, at least trans people get a week. I've heard some people don't like the fact that we even get a week, because especially given that social discourse surrounding trans people. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the idea. I do agree with the idea, but there are a lot of us out there, I've noticed, who are like, do we really need Trans Awareness Week? Given that people are pretty aware of us all the time lately, maybe we could have a Trans Stealth Week. Can we have a week where nobody acknowledges our existence? Where we don't get another transphobic Netflix special dropped by an out-of-touch comedian? I've heard Ricky Gervais has got some new material in the pipeline. Anyway. Well, I did show you that tweet, didn't I? Which is why I opened Twitter a minute ago. Not for that specific reason, but I had something I was going to bring up on the stream. I had an article I was going to show you. Check out some dumb selfies of me while you're waiting for me to do something interesting. Hydrate. Oh, thank you. Why do we keep getting these damn bots again? Want to become famous? I used to get those back when I was an affiliate 3 years ago. Why do they have Prime? Hang on a second. Why does this account have Prime? Account created April 20, 2019. Okay, this is weird. Alright, don't click on their accounts. Don't click on their accounts. I get the suspicion that... Yeah, stolen accounts. That's happened a few times now. So there are certain people who are just getting banned. Oh, hang on, what's happened? This is not the... Is this the article I wanted? Yes, it is. Okay. So I guess, I don't know, I guess certain accounts are being stolen. So yeah, this person has Prime, and then they're being used to spam these messages in other people's chats because obviously the bot accounts are too obvious. Did Twitch implement something behind the scenes maybe? Oh my god. They've DM'd me as well. What the fuck? Yeah, the exact same thing. Okay. The big follows thing. That's interesting. Where's this coming from? Where is all of this coming from? Yeah, but like the hacked accounts, but it's like it's not a new thing either. I've been seeing this for a while now. Like, I don't know why, but for a significant length of time there were none of these buy bot followers, blah 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 blah. And then all of a sudden it just comes out of nowhere. They've come back again. There we go. Prime Gaming, more like Crime Gaming. What does Prime Gaming even come with? I honestly don't know. I've never looked into it beyond... Yeah, you get a free sub. Do you get anything actually worthwhile with it? Okay. It could be the person who clicks on the links gets their info stolen and it spreads as a virus. That would make sense, actually, yes. There was that worrying thing a little while back. The reason I said don't click on their profile is because when the big waves of bot attacks were happening a little while back, it turned out there were people stealing accounts using an extension on Twitch, like a Twitch panel extension, that could somehow... I don't know if they were necessarily hacking your account or something, but, you know. It's a thing of courteousness, simplicity. Generally speaking, it allows people to see that this is a trans-inclusive space. I don't really necessarily need it now that we've got the transgender and LGBTQIA+ tag, but I've just sort of left it there as a continual thing. You know, it's become a thing now, so I'm going to leave it. Anywho, get free games and game items with Prime Gaming. How many different services are there that do that same kind of thing? Is what I'm curious about. Because, like, we've got, like, so many different game launchers now. We've got Steam, Epic Games, Rockstar had their own launcher, which broke recently. The Rogue Room
appreciates your recommendation.
Hey, David Allen, thank you so kindly for the host, mate. I wanted to talk about this news article that went out. Not news article, sorry. Scientific article. Science article. You might have heard a bit about rapid onset gender dysphoria. A hypothesis based on parental data, which comes up in the beginning of this. Somebody believed, essentially, that children were developing gender dysphoria, children who might have been cis, or trans, you know, because they were hanging around other trans kids, other trans teens, and yada, yada, yada. Guess what happened today? Some anti-vax Karen decided to kidnap her kid, and now she's going to jail for a long time. Just don't kidnap people. I feel like that should be a logical conclusion. I'm okay, David. How are you? I was going to look at this. I was going to take a look at this. Because, yeah, this was an interesting phenomenon. I don't know. Well, it's not a phenomenon. It's a false phenomenon. It always has been. There's always been a very good reason to speculate and be skeptical of this particular thing. This idea that gender dysphoria could be rapid onset from social contagion. Hey, do you hate your trans child? Do you also hate trans people you don't know? ROGD. Anyway, this is fun. This is amusing-ish. Someone scientifically proved it wrong. Basically. So somebody had a hypothesis that this is a thing that actually happens, and guess what? It doesn't. It's a lie. It's a farce. It's a falsehood. Shock and horror. Although emergence of gender dysphoria at puberty is long established, a distinct pathway of rapid onset gender dysphoria, ROGD, was recently hypothesized based on parental data. Right, so they didn't consider the children in this equation. Using adolescent clinical data, we tested a series of associations that would be consistent with this pathway. However, our results did not support the ROGD hypothesis. Puberty has long been understood as one period where gender dysphoria often first emerges. Although most transgender, or in quotes, trans, older adolescents and adults report needing gender-affirming medical care, hormones and/or surgeries, and also report having been aware of their gender at young ages, only a small proportion receive gender-affirming care as adolescents. Use of hormonal suppression with a gonadotropic releasing hormone agonist, GnRHA, Jesus Christ, that's difficult to read on its own. And hormones such as estrogen and testosterone therapies in trans and gender diverse adolescents is supported by the American Academy of Pediatrics, the Pediatric Endocrine Society, the Endocrine Society, and the World Professional Association for Transgender Health. There was a meme I saw recently that was basically just mocking TERFs. You know that Principal Skinner meme where he's like, what does he say? Like, could I have made a mistake? No, it's the children who are wrong. And it's the same thing, but it's like the second part is just a long list of all these different organizations that are in support of trans medical care. Hello, Rebel. How you going? I was in your recommended section. Awesome. I'm glad you like my hair. I tried to fiddle with it tonight to make it look a little bit nicer. I put hairspray in it, so it's like, look, it does this. It's just like, it moves as like a web. Oh, goodness. This is literally designed to seek out people who are already primed to believe it. Well, pretty much, yeah. Like, and there's another article I would like to look at before we talk to Laura a little bit later, which is not specifically related to this, but it is related to the idea of de-radicalizing gender criticals, right? Which was an interesting read. Anyway, here's me talking into a microphone some more. The World Professional Association for Transgender Health. Referrals to adolescent gender clinics have increased internationally, particularly among those assigned female at birth. In 2018, a phenomenon of rapid onset gender dysphoria, or ROGD, was hypothesized as a distinct pathway involving social contagion. There's another nonsense term. Among youth vulnerable due to mental or neurodevelopmental disorders, raising public concerns regarding potential for later regret following gender-affirming medical care. Somebody made a good point earlier about how one of the major transphobic talking points is that what happens if somebody transitions and they later regret it, and it's like what happens if you put a trans teen through cis puberty and they later regret it? Like, you don't consider that in your equation, do you? This discussion has occurred primarily in the context of data from a single online parental survey. Does that remind you of anything? Although this parental study has generated controversy, methodological and social critique, and calls for additional research, which we're looking at right now, its hypotheses have not yet been tested on data from youth themselves. Specifically, ROGD is hypothesized as a phenomenon in youth with gender dysphoria emerging at or after puberty, socially influenced through peer contagion, and with contributing factors including poor mental health, neurodevelopmental disabilities, parent-child conflict, and maladaptive coping strategies. Social contagion is literally fashion nonsense and also recycled homophobic propaganda. You know what social contagion is? It's kids peer pressuring each other into smoking. It's not gender dysphoria. What a ludicrous concept. If the ROGD hypothesis indeed characterizes a distinct clinical phenomenon and these youth access referrals for hormone suppression or gender-affirming hormones, then we would expect to see differentiation within clinical samples between those with more recent, i.e. rapid onset, versus more remote knowledge regarding their gender. Based on the published hypothesis, we would expect more recent gender knowledge to be associated with self-reported mental health measures. Sorry, I was covering up the text, I didn't even realize. Mental health and neurodevelopmental disability diagnoses, behaviors consistent with maladaptive coping, e.g. self-harm, support from online and or transgender friends but not parents, and lesser gender dysphoria. We aim to test these hypotheses. An actual social contagion is transphobia. Well, yeah, like I mentioned before, like we're going to get into this article I found, this other thing on... I've started just bookmarking things I see on Twitter, and then I'll bring those up on stream. But there's this article here which is rather interesting. Good read. Well, if we've got the time, we'll take a look at this. The de-radicalization of an anti-trans activist. And to summarize one of the major points, and maybe I should take this message to heart, essentially there's really not a lot you can do to argue with gender critical people. They effectively have to just get bored and drop out of the whole subculture. Is how this article basically words it. Is the person in this article in particular, I don't know if it's written from a first person perspective or if it's written in reference to someone who de-radicalized, but basically they just reached a point where it's like they're putting so much time and energy into this, and then eventually they were just like, look, I want to go learn German instead. I'd rather spend my afternoons after I pick the kids up from school when I've got an hour or two. I don't want to spend it shitting on trans people online. It's just too much energy. I'd rather watch the telly, hey. Like, that's what it boils down to. Homophobia and racism seem like they might be social contagion. Most definitely. Far more so than gender dysphoria would be. Because those are, like... Let's just take, for example, the notion of... well, I won't use the term social contagion, because, like, acting like a kind of person is a fad, is fashion. Well, yes. Absolutely. I won't act... I won't say that... what was I not going to say? I've forgotten now. But essentially, you know, things that like racism and homophobia can be passed down through families or through social circles like friend groups, and you can observe them in the mainstream media and things of that nature. How much mainstream media and how many trans people are there in broader society in general that are actively going out of their way to try to convince people that they're trans? Like, realistically speaking, how much is this really a problem to the point where it needs someone to hypothesize that it's social contagion, unlike, you know, homophobia, transphobia, racism, sexism, all those kind of things? That's far worse. Those issues are far worse than someone discovering they're trans, you know. Mum's learning German. She's not transphobic though. She supports me fully. Well, good. Was wondering how fear of blood could spread socially. You never know. Trust me. Like, get Fox News onto it. They'd find a way. Anyway, baseline data 2017 to 2019 from the Trans Youth Can cohort included pubertal that's a weird word. Pubertal. It sounds like a strange man's name. Oh, hello, pubertal. How you doing? Or a woman's name, an old woman's name, like Gertie. Hey, g'day, pubertal. It's been a while since I've seen you. How are your gardenias? / post-pubertal adolescents aged less than 16 attending a first referral visit for hormone suppression or gender-affirming hormones at 10 Canadian medical clinics that provide specialized gender-affirming care to adolescents through a range of different care models. Ethics approval was received from all study sites. Year's gender was missing for one participant, excluded. Sorry, that wording was a bit strange, so I got caught up on it for a second. For a final sample of n equals 173, we're using terms I'm not familiar with now. I know basic English words, I don't know what this means. Methods and measures were described in detail elsewhere. Self-reported measures were obtained from baseline interviewer-administered adolescent surveys and diagnoses from baseline clinical records. Recent gender knowledge was coded by subtracting age and years from age adolescent from age adolescent self-reported, they realized your gender was different from what other people called you. As ages were whole numbers, a difference of 1 could indicate less than 1 year to just under 2 years. Values less than 1 were coded as recent gender knowledge with an alternate definition, values less than 2. Is that less than? That's got a little line under it. What does that mean? 173 patients, okay, for sensitivity analysis. Mental health symptoms were assessed with the overall anxiety severity and impairment scale, OASIS, nice, the modified depression scale, MDS, and the Kessler 6 or K6 scale for psychological distress. Little line means less than or equal to. Okay. Mental health diagnoses extracted from the chart included anxiety, depression, personality disorder, eating disorder, and neurodevelopmental disorder. Diagnoses included autism, obsessive compulsive disorder, or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Gender dysphoria symptoms were assessed using the Trans Youth CAN Gender Distress Scale, TYC-GDS. Self-reported mental health behavior. Sorry, I glanced off screen for a second. Included self-harm, substance use, and suicidal behavior. 3 measures captured social connections to online and trans communities. Having gender-supportive online friends was coded if adolescents reported online friends who knew their gender and were very supportive. And having online or trans friends as general sources of support was indicated in checklist terms. Parental support was coded if youth indicated all biological/step/foster parents were very supportive of their gender identity or expression. Statistical analyses were conducted using SAS version 9.4.1, weighted to account for clinics' different recruitment periods due to staggered start dates, to improve generalizability. For analyses of associations between recency of gender knowledge and hypothesized correlates, a series of multiple regressions was conducted, with recency as the independent variable of interest, controlling for age and sex assigned at birth. Linear regressions were used for continuous dependent variables, e.g. psychometric scales. For dichotomous dependent variables, modified Poisson. I mean, I know it's got 2 S's, but still, Poisson regression with robust variance estimation was used. I need to know what poison in this context is. Is that referring to a person? It's the fish? Poison distribution, okay. Is this the modified Poisson regression? In probability theory and statistics, Poisson distribution, named after French mathematician Simeon Denis Poisson. Poisson. There we go, that would make more sense. I'm just going to keep reading it as Poison. It is a discrete probability distribution that expresses its probability of a given number of events occurring in a fixed interval of time or space if these events occur within a known constant mean rate and independently of the time since the last event. The Poisson distribution. That makes sense because croissant. Anyway, sorry. I'm okay with mocking the French. It can also be used for the number of events in other specified intervals such as distance, area, or volume. Okay. Okay, so recency of gender knowledge is presented in the figure. Results of hypothesized associations, recency value, less than or equal to 1 in table 1, and variable means and frequencies in table 2, available at jpeds.com. Controlling for age and sex assigned at birth, recent gender knowledge was not significantly associated with depressive symptoms, psychological distress, past diagnoses with mental health issues or neurodevelopmental disorders, gender dysphoria symptoms, self-harm, past year suicide attempt, having gender supportive online friends, general support from online friends or transgender friends, or gender support from parents. Recent gender knowledge was associated with lower scores on anxiety severity/impairment, numbers, if you want to know what those numbers are, and lower prevalence of marijuana use, counter to hypothesized directions of effect. For sensitivity and I can't read tonight. I can never read. What am I talking about? I can't read tonight. I can never read. I don't know how I passed English in first grade. For sensitivity analysis using the alternate value less than or equal to 2 definition of recent gender knowledge, we found all results substantively the same in statistical significance and direction of effect, except past year marijuana use, which now only approach statistical significance. What does this mean? P equals 0.0677. Like, we've got other similar things. We're just doing algebra now. Difference between age at clinic visit and age new gender was different years. So, weighted proportion. Figure 1, recency of gender knowledge among adolescents less than 16. Refer to Canadian clinics for hormone suppression or gender affirming hormones. Try to get the graph in there and everything else. So, yeah, 173 participants. Age at which new gender was different was subtracted from current age in years, thus 2 years could range from more than 1 year to less than 3 years. Lighter grey represents recent gender knowledge in this analysis, with a sensitivity analysis also including the patterned bar. Okay. Oh, good lord. There is so much in this. Okay. I'm not going to understand most of these numbers. I'm not that scientific. I don't know how to science. I can read text, though. So, discussion. We did not find support within a clinical population for a new etiologic phenomenon of ROGD, during adolescence. Among adolescents under age 16 seen in specialized gender clinics, associations between more recent gender knowledge and factors hypothesized to be involved in ROGD were either not statistically significant or were in the opposite direction to what would be hypothesized. P-values. There we go. Thank you for the p-values, Cursed Scion. Okay, in null hypothesis significance testing, the p-value is the probability of obtaining test results at least as extreme as the results actually observed, under the assumption that the null hypothesis is correct. A very small p-value means that such an extreme observed outcome, we can read this, would be very unlikely under the null hypothesis. Reporting p-values of statistical tests is common practice in academic publications of many quantitative fields. Since the precise meaning of p-value is hard to grasp, misuse is widespread and has been a major topic in meta-science. I mean, yeah, I was thinking p-value. Ha ha ha, p. Okay. There's an explain XKCD wiki? Really? Okay, so let's look at p-values, and then we'll come back to this. Well, we could finish this off first. So, among adolescents under age 16 seen in specialized gender clinics, associations between more recent gender knowledge and factors hypothesized to be involved in ROGD were either not statistically... You already read that. This putative phenomenon was posited based on survey data from a convenient sample of parents recruited from websites, and may represent the perceptions or experiences of those parents rather than adolescents, particularly those who may enter into clinical care. Similar analyses should be replicated using additional clinical and community data sources. Our finding of lower anxiety severity/impairment scores in adolescents with more recent gender knowledge suggests the potential for long-standing experiences of gender dysphoria or their social complications playing a role in the development of anxiety, which could also be explored in future research. And there's a lot of other shit in here that yeah, if you want some more sourcing there, I don't think we're going to go through all of that. But basically, ROGD is wrong. Lol. So let's have a look at this. So, okay. Jelly beans cause acne. So this is about the XKCD, about the p-values. Scientists investigate, but we're playing Minecraft. Fine. We found no link between jelly beans and acne. So, p more than 0.05? References, that's for scientists and leftists. Glad to have mathematical proof, even if all that should be needed is the word of trans people. That paper might help us convince liberals, maybe. That settles that. I hear it's only a certain color that causes it. Scientists, but Minecraft. We found no link between purple jelly beans and acne, p 0.05. Found no link between brown jelly beans and acne, pink, blue, teal, salmon, red, turquoise, magenta, yellow, gray, tan, cyan, green. Whoa. We found a link. We found a link between green jelly beans and acne. So p-value of less than 0.05. No link between mauve, beige, lilac, black, peach, orange. Green jelly beans linked to acne with 95% confidence. Only 5% chance of coincidence. There you go. That gives you a brief synopsis. But then there's this whole thing here too. This comic is about data dredging, aka p-hacking, and the misrepresentation of science and statistics in the media. A girl with a black ponytail comes to cue ball with her claim that jelly beans cause acne. We're just going to explain the comic. First, some basic statistical theory. Let's just go through this for the hell of it. Why not? Let's imagine you were trying to find out if jelly beans cause acne. Hey, Abel, how's it going? I'm doing okay. To do this, you could find a group of people and randomly split them into two groups. One group who you get to eat lots of jelly beans, and a second group who are banned from eating jelly beans. After some time, you compare whether the group that eat jelly beans have more acne than those who do not. Smudge, what are you doing? He's making so much noise. If more people in the group that eat jelly beans have acne, then you might think that jelly beans cause acne. However, there is a problem. Some people will suffer from acne whether they eat jelly beans or not, and some will never have acne even if they do eat jelly beans. Goodness me. Smudge scream. He's really loud. I don't know what his deal is. What? Is my cat just anxious and in need of hugs, maybe? Is that what this is about? I think that's what this is about. I think he needs attention. Yeah, no. Look at the microphone or something, or the camera. Look over there, look. Look at the camera. Come on, do something. He doesn't like attention. He really doesn't. He really does not enjoy attention. Cute regardless. I mean, true. Let's keep going. Okay, so where were we? If more people in the group that eat jelly beans have acne, then you might think, yeah, however, there's a problem. We've already read this bit. There is an element of chance in how many people prone to acne are in each group. What if purely by chance all the group we selected to eat jelly beans would have had acne anyway, while those who didn't eat jelly beans were the lucky sort of people who never get spots? Then, even if jelly beans did not cause acne, we would conclude that jelly beans did cause acne. Of course, it is very unlikely that all the acne-prone people end up in one group by chance, especially if we have enough people in each group. Excuse me. However, to give more confidence in the result of this type of experiment, scientists use statistics to see how likely it is that the result they find is purely by chance. This is known as statistical hypothesis testing. It is the time of hugs, madame. Well, not according to him. He's not down with it. Before we start the experiment, we choose a threshold known as the significance level. In the comic, the scientists choose a threshold of 5%. If they find that more of the people who ate jelly beans had acne and the chance it was purely a random result is less than 1 in 20, they will say jelly beans do cause acne. However, the chance that their result was purely by random chance is greater than 5%. They will say they have found no evidence of a link. The important point is there could still be a 1 in 20 chance that this result was purely a statistical fluke. There we go. At first, the scientists do not want to stop playing the addictive game Minecraft, but they do eventually start. The scientists find no link between jelly beans and acne. The probability that the result is by chance is more than 5%, i.e. P is greater than 5%. But then Megan and Cueball ask them to see if only one color of jelly beans is responsible. They test 20 different colors, each at a significance level of 5%. If the probability that each trial gives a false positive result is 1 in 20, then by testing 20 different colors, it is now likely that at least one jelly bean test will give a false positive. It's the natural one of a science check. To be precise, the probability of having no false positive in 20 tests is 0.95 to the power of 20, is that right? Or 35.85%. Probability of having no false positive in 21 tests, counting the test without color discrimination, is 0.9521 or 34.06%. This leads to a big newspaper headline saying green jelly beans linked to acne, where it is said they have 95% confidence with only a 5% chance of a coincidence. Unfortunately, although this number has been reported by the scientist stats package and would be true if green jelly beans were the only ones tested, it is also seriously misleading. If you roll just one die one time, you aren't very likely to roll a 6. If you roll it 20 times, you are very likely to have at least one 6 among them. This means that you cannot just ignore the other 19 experiments that failed. There are good methods for handling this problem, notably Bayesian inference, which we'd have to look at, but they can be difficult to use and explain, and complexity does not sell newspapers. In the title text, we find out that the scientists repeated the experiment, another key part of the scientific method. But now they no longer find any evidence for the link between acne and green jelly beans. They try to tell the reporter something, maybe that it was a coincidence, but the reporters are not interested since that is not news. So they do not listen to what the scientist has to say and instead use the information they have to make another major headline saying research conflicted and recommend more study on the link. But that was just what the scientist already did. This is sadly often an issue with more serious matters than jelly beans and acne. What the hell is more serious than jelly beans and acne? Honestly, black holes? That might be it. At any one time, there are many studies about possible links between substances, e.g. red wine and illness. Because only the positive results get reported, this limits the value any single study has, especially if the mechanism linking the two things is not known. On the subject of the red wine thing, not red wine and illness necessarily, but drinking a glass of red wine a night can lead to good health. How many of you have heard this nonsense? I've seen this kind of study done numerous times. Or I've heard of this study numerous times, right? And it's usually, it seems like it's usually conducted on people who are wealthier, or at least like better off. Yeah, like it keeps coming back, Diz. It's the thing, it keeps coming back. People keep peddling, not peddling it, parroting it. You know, people keep coming around saying, oh, you know, actually, if you drink a glass of red wine a night, it's actually proven to be healthy. But as far as I recall, all of the results on that study were from people who were not necessarily wealthy, but were just living comfortably and thus broadly were more healthy. So as a result, the scientific... I think it's just started raining, maybe. What was it? The scientific idea that was bandied about in the media was that if you drink a glass of red wine a night, you're going to be healthy. Sure, taxing your liver every night is great. Yeah, exactly, right? But the broader conditions that were not considered were like these people are eating healthier diets, and they have time in their day for exercise, and they've got other quality of life things that prevent them from dealing with the stress and anxiety of being a poorer person who doesn't regularly drink red wine every night with dinner. Don't get me wrong, I mean, go ahead and drink red wine with dinner every night if you want to. I'm not going to stop you. But it's a kind of a nonsense thing, and yet for some reason it keeps coming back around. Like, every so often, some new tabloid publication, I suppose you could say, will just be like, oh, by the way, drinking an alcohol a night's actually good for you. I'm like, why? Cup of poison a day keeps the doctor away. Like, I like my weed, but people who pretend weed is just medicine are also ridiculous. You just watched a Google Home burn. Would you set it on fire? Those issues with jelly beans and acne keep me up at night. No one understands how serious it is. Well, there we go. We learned about Poisson distribution. We learned about p-values. Alcohol is a fucking poison that destroys lives. It is. And you like my look tonight, folks? Maddie likes my look tonight. She thinks it's good. She loves it. I'm not 100% fond of the really dark, over-the-top upper eyeshadow. I think I needed, like... Oh, Forlorn Redeemed head pats. Ew.
You can't see it as much as...
Okay. Do I get head pats? No. I don't get head pats.
No.
You are... What?
Not from me.
Not from me, okay.
Yeah, I don't like to look up.
What? Oh, no. I look beautiful. Thank you kindly. I had to give my own head pats. I feel bad now. And the... Jesus Christ. Okay. Listen. I'm gonna humiliate my son on the internet. This is the second night in a row now he's come out to pee after he's gone to bed. And he's gone into the toilet, which is like one of those little individual cubicles in the unit. And he's pissed all over the seat and the floor, apparently. I had to clean it up last time. Maddie's had to clean it up this time. Pardon? Yeah, I wish he would. He just stands there and would just like spray it like a fire hose. Fucking A, mate. Pee-pee. I need a new title for my stream because I'm not getting enough viewers with this one. Feel bad for the poor kid, but still, I'll make sure to write it up for his 21st. Yeah, that's a story that'll probably come up at his, like, wedding or something, I don't know. My understanding was that the reason they got those results was because people who stop drinking do so because they're already sick with something serious, yeah. Do titles get viewers? They can sometimes. I think. It's why toilets have seats. Why do males have to stand? Let me just check if I've got any DMs, actually, so, you know. I think we're okay. Alright. Yeah, we'll probably be jumping over to chatting with... I might actually just do that. Pardon? No one's redeemed any hugs. What the fuck? Someone did You did yesterday. Yeah. Oh. You're new here, Trish. How you going? ASMR keyboard clacky. We like ASMR keyboards, don't we? There we go. As a new trans person with a kid, you like to hear fellow parent stuff. I could do a stream on parenting, honestly. We could talk parenting. Here we go. Maddie's getting hugs. Hello.
Hello.
It does feel good. If I could uninvent the idea of peeing standing up, I would. I want to know. Battling, showing off the abbeys. Showing off the core. I'm curious. How many trans women are there that stand to pee? If you still got the equipment to do it. So Kat's doing a huge donor stream for kids St. Jude's, you think, and one of the rewards for getting the $1,500 raised was burning the Google Home to death. I feel like that's really unsafe for a lot of reasons. Like, I feel like it shouldn't be that, I don't know, I wouldn't burn something like a tablet or a phone or whatever. I think they've got, don't they have things in them that can potentially explode? I don't know. Yeah, like batteries and stuff, but I suppose a Google Home plugs into power, but that's not really what I mean. You would do it if the toilet was totally wretched. Yeah. I mean, yeah. You wouldn't? Just clean it first. Just wouldn't go. Lithium ion battery? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, if there's any lithium in a Google Home, I don't know if there is or not, but you know. Also very toxic smoke? Yeah, I wouldn't advise it, generally speaking. That reminds me, actually, we made this remark before, but given how many of the issues that modern, well, I don't know, would you say it's modern conservatism, but certain very specific issues that a lot of people are faced with today that are directly the result of boomers. Is it a coincidence that generation grew up eating lead paint? Like, I'm just saying. Anyway. Went to Bribey, we went to a campsite toilet, ended up giving a bunch of flies a golden shell. I've been in one of those fucking toilets. They're disgusting. Jesus. Like, you lift up the lid and you can hear the swarm of bugs in the... Like, they've got this deep trench. Yeah, you never want to go to one of those things, believe me. It's just a toilet with, like, a lid that, like, almost completely vacuum seals. Keeps all the awful in there. And you open it and it's the most rancid smell you ever did smell. Don't ever do it. I don't know why people go camping. Who the fuck would do that shit? We literally have PlayStations, and you're going to opt to go and sleep in a flimsy tent out in the bush and shit in a hole. No thanks. I'm good. I'm okay. You know, the generation before boomers was eating radium paint. It just gets worse going back further and further, doesn't it? Oh, goodness me. They put radium in everything. You could even get radium condoms. Lol. I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, they still have glow-in-the-dark condoms nowadays. Are we sure those don't have radium in them? Boomer father-in-law brags about how he drank raw milk and breathed raw dust and shit and claims this is why he doesn't get sick. I'll tell you why I haven't gotten sick for like nearly a year, I guess. Radium condoms probably actually did a thing. Not safe, but what is? You know what made me not sick for a while was the fact that I wasn't around so many gross people all the time and I was wearing a mask everywhere. If I had to leave the house. That was good. Can we go back to that? That was nice. Now I'm worried of like getting sick again. Looking gorgeous. Thank you, Draco. Thank you so kindly. The radium wasn't to make it glow. It was believed to aid you in the bedroom. Oh my god. Believed based on what? Is what I want to know. What was that? Did they believe they found some kind of magical material? I mean, they had the same kind of thing with asbestos, didn't they? For a good while there, you know. They'd put asbestos in everything because they believed it was just this magical mineral. I don't know. Had to be in close quarters with your co-workers today. Team bonding days. Ew. I don't want to bond with people. No, thank you. The hygiene hypothesis for increased incidence of problematic allergies is a thing, I suppose. I guess. I mean, to be fair, it did seem pretty magical back in the day. Yeah, before they knew everything bad about it. Because Because what was it? It was supposed to be fireproof, and they were advertising you could make your house fireproof. I'm pretty sure, weren't there comics? I feel like there was a comic talking about the suit they made for the Human Torch in the Fantastic Four, and they specifically outlined that they made his torch out of asbestos so that it was fireproof. Have a perfectly good bond with my husband who doesn't need radium or lead to make him awesome. Good. Absolutely is extremely fireproof. It's also toxic for numerous other reasons. I actually don't know what the specifics are of it. I just know asbestos bad. Why is asbestos bad? Asbestos and health risks. Let's have a look. I know it causes cancer. Was commonly used in cement sheeting, fibro, drainage and flue pipes, roofing, guttering, and flexible building boards, e.g. Villa board, HardieFlex. Similar cement sheeting products are used today, but are asbestos-free, in quotes. Asbestos-free. Brakes, clutches, and gaskets. In the 60s and 70s, loose fiber asbestos was used in some parts of New South Wales as home roof insulation. Basically, glass fibers that slice the inside of your lungs to bits. So, like moon dust, then. Just the equivalent of moon dust. X probably did contain radium, asbestos, lead, arsenic. He was that fucking toxic. Oh my god. If it gets disturbed, it releases fibers into the air that are the actual danger. There we go. The portal moon dust. Makes me wonder if, is Chell still alive after she fired that portal to the moon? Spoilers for anyone who hasn't played Portal 2. Was it Portal 2? I think it was. Yeah. And if you haven't played Portal 2, what the fuck are you doing? How have you missed that one? Rip Cave Johnson. I gotta replay that game. It was tremendous. Play both of them. Back to back. Do I have it on Steam? I've got it on Steam. Yeah, I've played the first Portal so many times. I played the second one a couple of times at least. And I played through the co-op a few times. Portal 2 is good. Portal stream, I could do that. Well, tomorrow night I'm not doing a Portal stream, I'll tell you that much. But I will be doing the rest of Outer Wilds on Discord for subs. If you're a sub and you're in the Discord, I'll be live at my usual stream time, but I'll be over there, hanging out, playing the Outer Wilds DLC. Oh, goodness. I mean, I feel like it would be hard to suck at Portal, though. Like, just because you suck at video games doesn't mean you would suck at Portal. It's one of those games that's designed to be, well, it's a puzzle game, really. It's not like a, what other games could you compare Portal to, I suppose. It's more about thinking, well, thinking outside the box, generally. Do you know how long it took me to get past the second level? No. But eventually you fall into a rhythm with it, I think. Go the dolphin. Good example of how not to make a video game. Brain is not designed for portals. Yeah, I suppose like one of the things you have to do with Portal 1 and 2 is you have to look everywhere in your environment. Echo is a puzzle game, really? I've only seen a bit of it. I've heard that it's notoriously difficult, and not for good reasons. Same with like Battletoads, you know. I've heard that Battletoads was one of those games where it was like, oh god, what am I thinking? Hard for its own sake. Like it wasn't, I don't know, was it designed to be hard? I don't think it was designed to be hard. It just ended up that way. Horror games can have puzzles. I mean, I think the best horror games would be puzzle games. I don't really like the idea of horror action games. Oh, here we go. Alright, so Laura's on Zoom now. I think we're going to jump into... Just going to quickly ban someone. I think people go into it expecting some kind of action game, but it's more like Portal. It's not turn-based. Or locked into a grid or anything like that. Oh, I see. Pardon? Yeah, that's a good ban, I think. Anyway. Alright, we're going to jump into the chat with Laura Blake. We'll jump onto Zoom. Hopefully this all works properly. If all goes according to plan, I will probably appear on her stream. But I could probably try to get her camera up on my screen. Alright, let's get a hug in really quick. Thank you, Draco. I make you crave Monster so much. It's the trans drink. Alright, more hugs. More abs. All this kind of stuff. Squeeze me. Before I close the door. Oh, ow.
Oh, darling.
My titty's hurt now.
Oh. Okay.
Ow. Alright. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm good. Alright, time for collaborative content. I don't know what we're going to talk about. I've not planned much for today's stream because I've been so exhausted, dude. So exhausted. But, you know, here we are. We're going to do this anyway. Let me get on there. And I'll see if I can add a source that shows Laura Blake's camera on the stream as well under the sub goal. We'll see if we can do that. Okay, I will go to join. Open link. Okay, here we go. Allow the host to unmute you at any meeting scheduled. Allow. Join with video. Alright. The meeting host will let you in soon. Okay, connecting. Hello? Oh, hang on. Did that work?
Yeah, I can hear you and see you.
Fantastic. Can I get you on my I was just thinking, can I get you on my screen? I don't know.
Probably. So I will put you up on I will in fact I can go to it now. But before I do that, I don't want to put you up on screen yet. Do you want to change your name on Zoom?
What is it? Oh, yes, that's a good idea. Can anyone see it yet?
I don't think anybody should be able to see it. I can't see your screen.
That might be a little bit better.
Yeah, I just wanted to... There you go. I just wanted to make sure you were aware of that. And also, did you get my message about the username to ban?
Yes, I did. I got rid of it. I thought I responded. Did I? Oh, no, there we go. Yeah.
I don't know. Just so you know, because it was lovely 5 minutes ago getting a copy pasta of... there are only two genders. BLM is not real.
Oh, goodness.
With the try harder emote. It's like, come on. Try better.
Give us some new material, please.
I mean, using the try hard emote. I mean, really. I mean, the irony of using the try hard emote. It's so funny. It's already been actioned, apparently. Got an email. Somebody got an email from Twitch. That was quick. That was 5 minutes ago. Okay, so I'll put you on screen how you will be on my screen when we do the show. I'll press this folder, this folder.
Here we go. Let me bring up...
This.
There we go. All right, cool. I can see you. I'm going to try to put you on my screen if I can.
You can like crop it and whatever. So what I will do is I'll start like this and do like a little monologue and then I'll go to this scene.
Okay, sounds good. How can I... Yeah, let me see if I can bring you up over here. Excuse me.
Hi everyone in Abigail's chat.
Can you hear everything okay over there, folks? Over here in chat. What kind of source would I put down for Zoom?
If you've got multiple monitors, you could do a display capture, or you could do, I guess, application capture.
I think window capture would do. Is that the one? Window capture would do it.
I'd imagine so.
That's my chat box. We don't want my... Hi, chat. You're now on screen again. Would this be it? Oh, God. Zoom meeting just broke. What if that... No, that's not it. Hang on. Let me try. I don't think it's going to let me. Zoom meeting gives me this. I don't know what the hell that is.
Let's have a look. I can open a second window on my other monitor.
We've got a completely broken thingy going on here. I think it's because it's showing my camera as well. And it's...
Can you crop you out of the image that I'm sending back to you?
I don't think that would help.
So you can hold... Pardon?
I'm not sure if that would help. Would that help? Let's see. We're doing live tech support, folks. Oh, hang on. Let me change my finally socialist video.
Oh, I see what you're looking at. That's weird.
Hello, Knife Roomba. I want to set you up against my cat. Let's go. A knife strapped to a Roomba versus my cat. Let's do it.
As usual, meeting time. Well, thank you so much, Harold. The show will be on YouTube afterwards.
I'm trying to think, is there another way I can have you up on my screen? Short of like a Discord call, that's the only thing I'm used to doing, honestly.
I can probably do that. I've got virtual camera, but also I've got let's have a look. Virtual cam. Let's start virtual cam. Okay, and then Discord. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get you off the screen just so I don't dox anything. Because that's not a good thing. You need to always be prepared. The amount of times
Zoom, please. Oh my goodness. Why is technology difficult? I don't understand it. On the best of days.
I know. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna join your Discord.
That's a good idea. Yeah, actually, I didn't think of that.
I can find you. Continue. Join the. Yeah, wow, I'm not part of it. Okay, great. In which case, let's add you as a friend.
I could just add you as a friend from here and then
Send video request. Okay, so we can just do that.
that'll do. Yeah.
Now I can send you the feed. So what I will do is I'll put you back on this screen, and when we're in the call, you might want to crop, or just I don't know. You either just have the feed that I'm sending back to you, but it might be out of sync with your microphone,
True.
or just crop it so it's just this. I don't know. Whatever. Taking it.
We'll figure it out.
Thanks for hosting. Good morning, Mark Tyler. If you'd like to host me or you'd like to host Abigail, it's very easy. And also, it does help game the algorithm slightly. And it helps
Very
us both
slightly.
get noticed more. It's very slightly, but it does help. When there are masses of people doing it, it does help people. And it's as everybody knows, it's Trans Awareness Week. And this is the time to make people
The
more
Rogue
aware.
Room
of
appreciates
their
your
favourite streamers
recommendation.
who also happen to be trans.
There we go.
So,
Draco hosted me.
yeah, so please do that. On mobile, there is a share button. On that share button, it's just above or just below the video. It's so easy to press host. It's just the share. It's the box with the little arrow coming out of it. And on mobile, it's one button. On desktop, it's a whole thing. Don't ask. I don't care. But please do it. Please find out how to do it.
On desktop, it's /host and then username, I think, in chat, or
Yeah.
you can. There is a button on your dashboard. Somewhere.
I think you have to go to your own chat, right? You can't do it.
Yeah, you gotta do it from your own chat, which is strange, but I suppose it makes sense. Excuse me.
Okay, so I'll call you then on Discord.
That might be easier. Yeah, we'll see if that works. We'll go join video call. Although,
Oh, now I need to mute this. Hold on. We mute each other. If you mute your Discord, and I'll mute my Discord, so it's video only.
okay.
In fact, actually, you can turn your video off as well,
Yeah, I couldn't I?
because I don't need your video, so that will help with bandwidth.
Okay. Oh, hang on.
Oh no, I need it on Zoom.
what
you
the
can turn
heck?
it
Why'd
off
that do?
on,
Oh, hang on.
Turn it off on Discord.
Hang on. Let me make this
And
bigger. Oh no.
Unmute yourself on Zoom.
Wait, did I
need
mute
your
myself
Zoom
on
feed.
Zoom?
I don't need your Discord feed, is what I'm saying.
Can anyone hear me on my stream?
No, you're still muted on Zoom.
What the heck?
You're muted on Zoom. Thank you for the
The
hosts,
Rogue Room
Miss Jennifer
appreciates
Juan
your
and
recommendation.
Squiggle Gigi.
There
and
we go.
Cat Dev.
Did that work?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, so this is just I don't know what Discord is doing, honestly.
Can you see my video feed?
I can,
Discord.
yeah.
And then are you able to capture that? Oh, and I've just got a raid. Okay, 79 people. Bleach Blonde, thank you so much. I'm gonna come back to you in 2 seconds if that's all right. We're just setting up tech. Thank you so much, everybody, for
Text all
raiding
over
and
the
being
place.
here. Bleach Blonde, hello, how are you? I can mute myself so you don't hear this for a second, Abigail.
Well, there we go. I guess I can I mute myself? I think I'm all good for the moment. While I just quickly set up a window capture or something of Discord. That'll be like, yeah, there's a Zoom thing. I just do that. Will that work? That will work. That's Laura's stream over there. So it's going to be like probably a little bit out of sync or what have you. You know, this, unless we just don't want to like, I don't know how to organize these things. I'm not good with technology. You were using exclamation mark, not slash. Yeah, true. So technology is a blessing and a curse. It really is. Really is. So yeah, I didn't mess anything up on the Twitch end of things.
Hey, sorry about that. I just had to say thank you. I feel rude if I don't. And also, it's a big raid, so stay. Please do stay.
Hello, Raiders.
And this is Abigail, who we're about to chat to. Now, normally, there will be a title sequence and everything, but I want to make sure your setup's okay. Are you happy with what you've got your end?
I've got a little window capture of Discord. That's about the best I can do at the moment. I don't know if
It's okay.
It's got both of us on there. I can just like move me out of the shot. I don't know if it's.
Or you can, yeah, you can hold, if you're on Windows, you can hold Alt and drag the side in, so then it just crops it. So just.
Oh yeah, that's cool. I didn't know that was a thing. There we go.
Well,
I can put you over here now. You can cover up chat. We could just like put you over my usual chat box that sits on the stream.
The Rogue Room appreciates your recommendation.
Yeah, the alt cropping is revolutionary. I mean, Bleach Blonde's excited to be here. Well, thank you so much, Bleach Blonde, Shannon. Thank you so much. If you have just raided in, I know you're mostly in Vegas and you're mostly, or in America, you're mostly drunk. Please host. Please go host me, and also open a second window and open Abigail's channel as well. Twitch.tv/AbigailBlake. We want viewers in both channels, please.
Loads of viewers.
It's Trans Awareness Week, and you might as well split your view count between both of us. So that'd be wonderful. So what's going to happen is, I know that this is going to make me look a bit funny on your screen, but I think that's fine for the
I've got your ear. I've got one ear. It's okay.
Okay, I think that's fine for the intro. What I'm gonna do is, we'll start now. I'm gonna go to like a coming soon scene for, and this is a production note for you, but also for your chat, not to feel weird and worried. I'm gonna go to a starting soon screen for about 10 seconds, so I can press start recording. Go to a title sequence of "Welcome to the Pride Guide," and then I'm gonna do a very quick opening monologue of like, "Hi, this is who we're talking to." So I'll be with you in like 3 minutes.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good. Do you want me to mute my mic now or no?
No, I can mute you here. You
Oh yeah, you got control over it. Yeah.
Yeah, and also I've got faders and everything. You're in a separate fader.
The Rogue Room appreciates your recommendation.
A bit nervous. Okay. I fucking love Abigail, so I'm a bit nervous. Okay, let's go to coming soon. I'll see you in a sec.
Right here. There we go. So we got like the intro sequence here. So yeah, it's slash host. Laura does have pretty hair. Hello, Jelly Nugget. How's it going? So yeah, we're gonna be doing this whole thing very shortly. Oh, it says Abigail Beck. Why do we keep ending up with Abigail Beck? Who's seen my Twitter header? Yeah, oh no, hang on. Oh no, yeah. We've got a typo. Oh, hang on. That's not right. What happened there? Oh yeah, because I got the wrong window open. Go to my Twitter for those of you who have not already seen it, and click on my header, and you'll notice my header says the Abigail Beck for some reason. Anyway.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. Hello and welcome to the Pride Guide, our 4th episode. This Trans Awareness Week. Thank you so much. An honourable mention, as always, goes to Jiggly Peach, a stream on Twitch, who is part of the queer community, but is not trans. And we did the Pride Guide last Pride Month, and Jiggly thought actually it'd be best not to host this with me. Let the trans folk step to the front. And thank you so much. This, as I say, is episode 4, and I'm so glad you're here. We've spoken to Laura Kate Dale. We've spoken to Angel Interceptor. We've spoken to Charlie Craggs. And next on our trans hit list is somebody who I am so excited to talk to, and I know you will be too. And if she's a new person to you, then you're absolutely going to love her. Before we get to our guest, I just want to say, if you'd like to ask our guest any questions, and you're watching live on Twitch, if you're watching on demand and you don't know what Twitch is, don't worry about it. But if you do know what Twitch is and you're watching live, then please go to my channel, twitch.tv/HeyLauraBlake, and ask a question using channel points. It costs 1 point. Basically, it's a way to make sure that trolls don't do it. And you can ask a question there at all. And I'm sure if you're watching Abigail's, or I've said her name, but if you're watching our guest stream live, you can ask questions there, and Abigail, I'm sure, will keep an eye on it and might ask me something. But thank you so much. We are streaming this live on my channel, twitch.tv/HeyLauraBlake, and on twitch.tv/Abigail Beck, because our guest is social commentator, trans streamer from down under. It's not racist because I'm half Australian, I promise. Please welcome, it's Abigail Beck. Hi.
Hello. Hang on.
How
I've
are
closed
you?
your little window there. There we go. Hello. How's it going?
Amazingly. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you doing? How's everyone going today? Whatever time. It's tonight for me. It's like 10, 11 p.m.
Well, it's 11 a.m. for us.
There we go. Good
The
morning,
other
everybody.
side of the world. Good morning. Can I just say, first of all, for me, it's a coup having you on. I love coming into your streams because you have. Okay, I'm going to say something. If you're watching as a cis person, don't say this kind of thing. But from trans woman to trans woman, I'm going to say you've got the balls that I don't have. In that you put yourself out.
I'm trying to get rid of those. Like,
yeah, same. You put yourself out there, and you're a you're self-labeled social commentator, and you talk about issues constantly. You have the Rouge Room that you stream daily, and it's a show where you talk about the stuff that's going on that you care about and you think people should care about, and I don't really have those cojones to do that. Like I talk about the issues that affect me, but I kind of do it in a very moany way, and we move on very quickly because I'm scared of things. How I'm going straight in quite hard. How do you find the mustard? How do you find the spice and the sauce to do that every day?
oh, that's a good question. I think I like to drive myself based on the idea that I'm probably pissing someone off, and that gives me. Oh, look, it's just me on screen. Talking to myself over here on my end. Well, like not really, but I think it's that kind of what's that analogy about video games? Life is like a video game. If you keep running into enemies, you're going in the right direction. So
I've never heard that before.
I don't know where I heard that. It was a neat little concept. And I mean, ultimately, most people have an attitude of you don't want to make enemies. You want to be making either friends or you don't want to draw attention to yourself. And, since I was a kid, I wanted to draw attention to myself. I wanted to be an actor and all these kind of things. I wanted eyeballs on me. So what better way to do that than to touch on the issues that I know are going to inflame some people and impassion others. And most notably, the issues that I particularly talk about are ones that I personally am passionate about. So at the moment, of course, a big, especially given it's Trans Awareness Week, one of the things I talk about quite regularly, and the focus of my YouTube channel, is generally relating to trans news. So anything that's going on in the world of trans rights is going to end up as a YouTube video. But we do talk about loads of other things. We've covered issues like, say, anti-vax protesters and far-right reactionaries and all of that kind of thing. So very, very heavily leftist slanted content here, which is fun, But of course, with that comes a lot of detractors, notably in the held for review section of my YouTube comments. So they just sit there, and there's a little message that said these will be automatically deleted after 60 days. And they can just seethe in that little area where no one can see them. They'll just say mean shit to me, and I'll just be like, haha, no one can see you saying that, actually, you doofus.
So here's the thing, right? You've got a YouTube channel. You're obviously a Twitch streamer. You're doing. I don't want to say the Lord's work, but you're doing work that a lot of us in the community appreciate. Because I know I don't have, as I just keep saying, I kind of do activism stuff, but I don't want to put my name out there because I'm scared, and I think it's very easy to, and it's understandable to be like I am, and it's fucking brave to do what you do, and I guess if we're getting into the heavy stuff immediately, how do you deal with Twitch? Because I have lots of streamers that come in. I have anti-trans streamers once like minimum like twice a stream, and I stream daily. But it's recently, obviously, it's Trans Awareness Week, so there are lots more. But I get shitloads, and what I like to do, Abby, I don't know how you deal with trolls, and I'll really be glad to hear about how you deal with them. I ask my chat to not talk. I want it to be deathly silent in chat. And so it's just the person. And then I can humiliate them and make them feel like an absolute piece of shit. An absolute thick arsehole who doesn't know anything. And normally they're 14-year-old kids. Like,
That's the
normally.
way I think about it, generally speaking. Most of the time, the significant majority of the time, it's going to be just some loser kid with no friends, honestly, who's just looking for attention. And they're going about it in all the wrong ways.
How do you deal with them?
Probably largely, well, I don't tell people to be quiet, but sometimes, I won't necessarily encourage bullying on behalf of chat, but if they decide to poke and tease at someone, I'm not going to step in. I'll just be like, you know what, kick this little dipshit around for a bit. I find it highly amusing. Entertain me, peasants.
See, I have a shtick on my channel that I like. People are like, I'm the queen and everyone's a bitch and blah blah blah. We play into that femdom thing only through alerts. It feels like you've taken this to heart, Abigail.
A little bit.
Oh, too right. So look, you deal with them by just letting chat rip them to shreds. How do trolls affect you on stream? Like, I know personally that the individual trolls, water off a duck's back, I couldn't give a shit.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything to my life. But after a while, it does become taxing. And it's just like, okay, there's a barrage. I'm getting a bit sick of it now. How do these things affect you?
I think I have a similar issue of, you see the same kinds of messages enough times. One-off is not an issue, but if you're seeing it constantly, and at first it's generic insults that we've all heard a million times before, which is it's nothing. Like, if you've seen the same insult once or twice, you've seen it 1,000 times. But it's when they start to particularly attack things I'm actually self-conscious about, that, notably my voice. I'm just going to outright say it. I have a lot of issues with my voice, but I don't know what it is I do. Sometimes it does get to me. I will say there is a bit of a mental tax. Notably, it affects me off stream though. Like the constant seeing of hateful messaging in chat, in comments, on Twitter, everywhere. No one can put up with all that stuff on a regular basis and not take some kind of mental toll. And I honestly don't know if I do have a proper coping mechanism with that kind of thing. In the moment, I tend to treat it as dismissive. I can not... strangely, I have this ability to just not register it the majority of the time, or I can laugh about it, or I can tease a person for being so gratuitously trollish and having very minimal intellect. But outside of it, I think myself and many other, especially trans content creators, right? The issue that I have been faced with, of course, is like, if you dare to remember the hate raids that were happening a few months ago. That was a big discourse around streamer social media, notably on Facebook. I participated in several streamer Facebook groups, and on Twitter, I didn't notice this kind of response all that much, but maybe I wasn't looking in the right threads. But specifically in those Facebook groups, there were a number of streamers who were bringing the hate raids to everybody's attention. BIPOC streamers and queer streamers are being harassed with hate raids constantly, blah, blah, blah. And routinely, one of the big responses was, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. And I feel like that's an incredibly nonsensical way to look at the situation. Like, if you don't like being abused on the internet, then just get off the internet. Which, given that some of us literally do this to earn income, that's not really you can't just... I made the analogy of, what if someone barged into your office job and just started screaming profanities at you every single day? And, I don't know, like, your boss just looks over and goes, yeah, all's well. Like, should we not have said anything in that circumstance?
I feel like the only way that that's acceptable is if you work for Gordon Ramsay. That's the only way that's acceptable. But no, but it's just draining, isn't it?
It is.
Like, I like your voice, by the way.
Oh, thank you
I
kindly.
I am also somebody who doesn't really like their voice. I've got quite a bit going. Here's the thing: going through the wrong puberty is fucking devastating, especially if you don't realize it at the time. When you realize who you are, going through the wrong puberty is horrible. It affects everything. There are so many. Here's the thing: there are so many lovely trans people and non-trans people who have like TikToks or YouTube channels on voice training and how to affect your voice. So you can if you like the easiest trick is going and then going.
Yeah.
I'm up here now. I'm up, but it's like I don't want to talk like this. This is not my authentic self. Hi, I'm Laura. Hi. This isn't my authentic self. I'm down. I'm normally down here, and I don't want to try. And it's not losing authenticity. I mean, society is we perform femininity, so everybody performs femininity. Everybody performs masculinity. That is what society is. But having gone through the wrong puberty and having to outperform your femininity to other people is it's fucking horrible.
It is, yeah.
But as somebody who's not Australian, I like your voice.
Oh, thank you kindly. I mean, a lot. This is what's strange to me, is because as someone who has to deal with voice dysphoria on a daily basis, and so many other people are saying to me, like in chat now, people are saying to me, "I like your voice. I like your voice." My girlfriend loves my voice, of course, and as you mentioned, like the voice training thing. There's so many channels about trans people suggesting methods for voice training, and for all we know, those methods might work. I don't know, but how long has that person been voice training? Do they have a background in performance? Did they start transitioning earlier? Like, did they start transitioning like mid-male puberty and missed out on a lot of the voice deepening? Who knows? There's a lot of questions there that are often left unanswered unless they specifically put out a video on it. But, you know, some of my favorite, content creator trans women have just got these incredibly passing voices, and that's one of the issues of being in this space, I suppose, is like the passing culture, not just generally as a trans person, but as a trans person on camera, in front of a microphone as well, putting yourself out there. I will say this though, it's like, this is not how I sounded a year ago. You know, so back when I started transitioning properly in around September of last year, my voice was significantly deeper, significantly more masculine, and I guess I've just subversively trained myself without really intending to. I haven't really gone out of my way.
Interesting.
It's weird, or maybe it's just that I'm going to say this, given the subject of gender performativity, which it's really strange when you bring the topic of gender performativity to certain discussions and people are adamant to say to you, I don't perform my gender. It's like, are you sure? Because I can tell you right now, if I go back a year ago or more than a year ago, I can absolutely guarantee you I was performing masculinity so hard I was exhausted at the end of the day from just putting on the act. It was so much of a performance, and so much of it was the observation and emulation of men to try to be the most masculine that I could, which, was debilitating. And the voice factored into that. And I think there were moments where I was just alone and I would like talk to myself or what have you, or think to myself in a voice that was much more similar to this than, can I do it? Hang on. Than like the more deep and masculine kind of tones that I would put out on stream. Like, it was a big project.
Dad?
It was really...
Yeah, I mean, that's mad. That is, if that's what you've done subconsciously, then that is mad. Maybe I am talking a bit higher pitch. I feel like I've always been high pitch, but I go low all the time, and it is that and hairline are like the two things that are like, and like taking hormones for the last 9 months. I feel like I've had a bit of like baby hair growth at the front.
I think I've got a bit of that too. Oh,
like,
someone in chat has redeemed a flip off, so this is not for your audience, but there you go. Patch, enjoy that one.
Absolutely rude. Absolutely rude. I turned my redeems off. I'm a professional.
I should do that, actually. It's a good idea.
The mods can make them out of stock. It's fine. Again, if you don't know what Twitch is, Don't worry about it. Although, if you don't know what Twitch is and you're watching on YouTube and you've got Amazon Prime, I would suggest, right, you can take Jeff Bezos's money, you can steal it, and you can subscribe to Abigail. You can go to twitch.tv/Abigail Beck. Look at the sexy woman with the sexy muscles. And
Another redeem, by the way.
That's fine. Jeff Bezos's money you can give for free. You can take that. Oh, you want to go to the moon again, do you? Well, fuck you, Jeff. I'm going to have $4 of your money and I'm going to give it to Abigail. That's twitch.tv/Abigail Beck. If you join during one of her streams, she'll talk you through how to do it. I won't. So we have these. It's a little advert break. We have these insecurities, and obviously, I personally love being here, streaming in this studio down this camera because I can control how I'm seen, how I'm presented. I can control who can say what to me. What does your stream do for you as a Twitch streamer?
Honestly, I think you've outlined it all perfectly.
Being, yeah.
Sorry, continue on. What were you saying? You just like I just.
No, but as a sentient being, like instead of like, how does it compare to being on Twitch? Like, how does, I guess, what does streaming do for you?
I think it honestly gives me an opportunity to explore things that I had previously never considered in a lot of ways. Like, for example, I was never really much of a news, politics, social discourse, any of these kinds of things kind of person. I was very blasé, dismissive of the world, and, excuse me, I guess quite antisocial before I started, in a way. I mean, it was really... I was one of those people that was like, don't draw attention to yourself, despite being the person who wanted attention, but I wasn't in the right frame of mind to get that particular attention, which I know that's probably a perhaps narcissistic thing to say, but, you know.
Relatable.
I think, yeah, streaming's given me an avenue to communicate with a bunch of people in a way that's allowed me to find a sense of community as well, allowed me to find a group of people who have relevant experiences, shared experiences that you don't find in day-to-day life, for example, especially, you know, amid a pandemic. That's one of the great things that's happened, I suppose, with the whole lockdown of literally everything, is there's still that element of socialization when you're streaming. You can communicate with people, you can find similar voices and similar minds, which is always a positive. I don't know, what else has streaming done for, aside from income? Streaming recently allowed me to pay off half a PlayStation 5, so we'll say that much.
Hey, that's great! And if you'd like to help Abigail get the other half of the PS5 paid off, then please do subscribe. A few trans people have messaged me recently and have asked, why do you stream? Why do you put yourself, like, why do you put yourself in line for all this abuse and like whatever? And
I think a lot of us don't want the abuse necessarily. That's just a side effect.
No, it is just a side effect of existing. I will always say, actually, to be able to present myself the way I want to be seen, and to be able to be treated like the woman that I am, where when I walk out of my front door, I don't. And I have couples nudging each other to have a look. You'll have like groups of friends from across the road pointing and giggling. You'll have like literal verbal abuse from people driving past or whatever. This is not just a safe space, but it's a dysphoria safe space actually for me most of the time. And I think it's a really wonderful thing. I mean, would you recommend streaming to people that maybe do have that entertainer in them? I think we both have that entertainer in us, but also just don't have an outlet for their gender in a way.
I would say so, yeah. I mean, there's a particular streamer who I'm not going to name who recently moved out of her parents' house, and I was not aware of this because I hate saying this, but she passes flawlessly. Like, you see any photo of her.
Why do you hate saying it?
I just feel like it's demeaning to those who might consider that they don't pass for whatever reason. But
I'm going to circle back to this. I don't, but continue your story. But I disagree with you. But We'll come back to
Anyway, yeah, like, okay, so she moves out. She's recently moved and she's living alone now, which is great because her father apparently dislikes trans people and she wasn't out to him and she was living with him. And I'm like, how did you manage that when you just look the way that you do? And you, like, having watched her streams as well, it's just like pass on every single mark on the board or whatever. And I couldn't fathom that. But just generally speaking, if anyone who is trans might be living in a circumstance where they are surrounded by friends, not friends is the wrong term, but surrounded by family and other people in social circles that are not trans accepting, then yes, streaming is a good avenue for that. VTubing, especially when you're able to put like a mask in front of who you are and just say, well, I'm a trans woman or I'm a trans man, but I don't want my face on the internet, but I still want to connect with other trans people. I would like to entertain other trans people maybe, or just would like to entertain people in general, whatever it is that they want to do, but they're living in particularly unaccepting circumstances. This is a good outlet for that. This is definitely a good avenue. I've met so many really cool people through this space and through YouTube, and recently I did a panel stream with Bad Bunny and Jesse Gender and all these really freaking cool people, which I never would have had that opportunity if I hadn't gotten into this space, I suppose, and started really, I guess, honing my content. And yeah, I think this is definitely, like you mentioned, like a dysphoria safe space. This is an avenue where you control the image. You get the opportunity to be front and center of the spectacle and put forth the you that is most earnest to yourself and what you would like to show other people. I'm not sure if there's any more I can say on that front, honestly. But
No, I think that's wonderful. I think that's a really, like, it's a really nice thing. I've got somebody in my chat who's saying the UK sucks. I don't like going out because of the transphobia, but I feel like I have freedom streaming, and I think that is a shared experience, and I think it's wonderful. I will circle back to what you said, however, on
what did I say? I forgot what I said.
about passing and about how you don't like saying that passing. You don't like saying passing. Somebody passes flawlessly because it might be kind of offensive to people.
Well, yeah.
And I disagree because I believe you do too. But if we think about intersectionality, and like we have to believe that intersectionality is a thing, and lived experiences affect the way society treats us. People that passing is a massive privilege, and can intersectionality means that somebody who's white and working class might have less privilege than somebody who's a person of color. It'll be very rare, and it won't be to do with their skin tone. If we look at and that's a very extreme version. But if we look at intersectionality, it means that everything's taken into account: your race, your gender, your age, your ability, your everything. Everything about you is part of intersectionality, and actually passing is a huge privilege.
Yeah.
Which just means that you don't get abuse in the street.
Definitely, and like pretty privilege as well. You know, how many people have you heard mocking someone just for being ugly or for being fat or for anything? You know, whatever other reason. What's an extension of that that's absurd to me, because, you know, body image issues are a thing that strangely I seem to focus a lot on while also dealing with them myself. I tend to look into these things, and it's weird that, you know, general social convention, one of the pretty privileges is obviously thin privilege, and yet there will be people brigading those who have, like, on social media, for example. There was that one YouTuber whose name escapes me right now, has a Eugenia Cooney, I think. She was dealing with a ton of abuse for being anorexic, right? Which is strange. Like, she's just dealing with an obvious eating disorder, and then in response to that, massive community gathering around her to support her to try to recover. But still, you know, a lot of people will look at those tiers of privilege, you know, racial privilege, what is it, like race privilege, gender privilege, age privilege is something that a lot of people don't consider.
Absolutely.
And they'll look at them
privilege.
independently. Yeah, socioeconomic, absolutely, yes. Which plays into that whole pull yourself up by the bootstraps kind of nonsense. But yeah, like a lot of people will look at those distinct things, and I know everyone's probably sick of talking about Chappelle at this point, but one thing that was noted as a result of his special was he had to go out of his way to drive a wedge between black people and the queer community at large, the LBGs, as he called them or whatever, which was just, how are all of the LGBTQ plus people in the black community going to feel about that, Dave? When you've just put two distinct marginalized groups against one another. And I've seen the result of this directly. I was talking about the Chappelle thing. I was talking about how the transphobia was irresponsible of him and Netflix and all that on Twitter. And I had someone attack me because I was apparently being racist for calling out the transphobia when I said nothing of Dave Chappelle's race. I said, and like, that's the issue there is, I feel like I've gone off on a tangent, but
No, it's fine. Dave Chappelle is a cunt for many reasons. Being black is not one of them.
Exactly. It's that same kind of South Park level of humor where, I'm making fun of everybody, but I'm gonna make fun of this group over here, like, isn't the social group that I'm a part of little bit wonky sometimes, but also fuck trans people, they should go in the gas chambers. Like that's the level of extremity that, yeah, I'll make fun of everybody, but this group over here is safe. That one, yeah. we're going to tear them down.
I mean, talking about gas chambers. I mean,
Arizona.
No, I was actually going to talk about the BBC. The BBC, if you don't know, are the biggest publisher in the world, the biggest broadcaster in the world. They're the British Broadcasting Corporation, and the BBC News is famous for being impartial. But they forget it's about due impartiality, not just being impartial. And they posted an opinion news piece a couple of weeks ago saying that trans women were rapists.
Yeah, I reported on that one.
Yeah, and they quoted a woman who was a porn star who said that who basically provided like a case study for this, but they didn't do their due diligence, and she has sexually assaulted. She, as a cis woman, has sexually assaulted cis women. Mm-hmm. And since being called out for the BBC for featuring her, has written a blog post on her website and verbatim saying, "If it were up to me, I'd be lynching every one of them." Yeah,
she did that, and she called literally, like, she used the word lynching. This, for anyone who is curious, this is not hyperbolic. She did use the word lynch in reference to, quite specifically, the Wachowski sisters. Who else was there? Caitlyn Jenner. Notable trans women were listed by name with, like, lynch in front of their name. And then, like, if it were up to me, I would personally execute all trans... Like, these are the words of someone who's clearly not mentally stable. Let's just put that out there right now. This is the result of a psychotic break, I think. But that being said, that's not a justification. I think she genuinely holds these views, but just snapped as a result of all the negative attention driven to her as a result of the article. I'm just hypothesizing, but
I mean, I don't know if I agree, and I don't know if I don't know if I think that's a very kind hypothesis.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm giving her more credit than she deserves.
Yeah, I think that, and I don't think you're giving that to her because she's white. But no. There's this, but obviously the whole, anytime somebody ever says, "Oh, I think they've got problems," it's always like if there's a white terrorist, if there's like a big shooting.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, it's a white person, they must have mental issues. Whereas if it's a person of color, or it's a Muslim person, they're a fucking terrorist. She's a fucking terrorist.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
She's a hateful terrorist. I know she might have fallen down the right pipeline. She might just be a horrible cunt. Who knows? But I actually think maybe your hypothesis is slightly too nice for her.
Maybe it is. I think maybe it's just that perhaps we've given the benefit of the mental illness social discourse diagnosis, let's call it, where, a bunch of people who are not, I mean, I'm not a psychologist, but a bunch of people who are not psychologists are diagnosing this as a mental health issue with regards to, say, a mass shooter or anyone else, but they don't extend that same courtesy to a person of color who might commit the same kind of crime, which is I think one of the one of the particular issues in that regard is just how badly people of color are treated, especially in the Western world, which absolutely manifests in mental illness. Like, it obviously manifests among white people as well, who are living in, say, for example, similar conditions to a lot of people of color. But for whatever reason, especially if it's certain groups, certain racial groups that might commit a certain thing, the mental illness thing is never brought into the discussion. And it's always a really, I guess I'm calling myself out here. It's really an incoherent talking point. But yeah,
But it's muscle. But here's the thing: calling yourself out is amazing, and I love you for it. But it's muscle memory. We are taught by society that these are the ways. I live in East London. I live in Hackney in East London. It's full of black people. When I grew up, white people were the minority in this part of London, and I fucking love my life for it. I feel so lucky to be in a city with 250 languages, 250 cultures, 350 languages. It's incredible. However, I grew up with mostly black friends, and still, if there are a group of black boys with their hoods up at night time, my brain will think, cross the road. And that is my racist bias from society telling me they're dangerous. And they're fucking not. They're just having a laugh.
I mean, I will say this though, like, I've never had that issue with people of color specifically. Ironically, I saw a group of very obviously white boys walking around today wearing certain attire. One of them didn't have a shirt on. And they had like these just mean scowls on their face. And it's like, I know what kind of people you are.
Yeah. And but here's the thing, you're judging. I mean, yeah. And I think that like there will be groups of white men that especially now.
Was it
I'm
actually?
out,
I don't know.
Now I'm out. I feel like I would avoid groups of white men as well. But I understand, and I actively. And here's the thing: if you're an audience member, those biases are okay to have as long as you address them and you actively try to unlearn them, and you try to actively remind yourself that this is society teaching you these things.
It is.
It's not real. It's not real. It's not.
Which is what the BBC was contributing to when they published that article. So, and if we go back even further, was it the BBC that published the article about trans widows? Do you remember that story?
Oh,
where
I do.
There was a bunch of women transitioning who happened to be married, but their wives did not want to be married to a trans woman, and for whatever legal nonsense jargon that was going on within the marriage system, those wives of the potential trans women, I suppose, I don't know what you would call them in this circumstance, were able to effectively put a stop to that trans woman transitioning because there was a legal barrier. I'd have to go back and look up exactly what the issue was. Something to do with archaic marriage laws. Honestly, archaic.
How interesting.
Yeah. But basically, that's not really the main point, I suppose. The major issue, of course, is that I don't know if it was the BBC that published the Trans Widows article or if it was another publication. But essentially, okay, we're going to publish an article that focuses on transgender people, but rather the people around them that are supposedly negatively affected by the transition. And that's a constant journalistic talking point for seemingly no reason other than, I don't know, put the puzzle together. It's 4 pieces. It's not exactly a difficult one, folks. And we see it all the time. Like, how often do you see a trans-positive news piece? Pink news? That's about it. Like, honestly.
I mean, the number that I like to quote constantly is that there's a newspaper over here called The Times. It's very well respected. It's centre-right. But when it comes to trans people, oh my God. In 2020, they wrote 324 articles about trans people. Abigail, do you wanna take a stab in the dark about how many of them were written by trans people?
I'm gonna say 0, probably.
0 of them. Ding, ding, ding. You win. You win the prize of being depressed as a trans woman. Yeah. In 2020, 324 articles were written by The Times newspaper. That's only one of our broadsheet newspapers, and 0 were written by trans people.
Which is interesting.
Just relentless.
And
how's the media coverage in Australia about
that's what's confusing to me, actually. There's very little coverage of trans people in Australia, generally speaking, from what I've been able to see, which is arguably a positive if Australia is more focused on other issues than constantly dragging trans people, that's a win in my books. But there was recently an article out of Tasmania suggesting that a Tasmanian branch of the LGB Alliance was trying to shut down a lesbian convention or something like that. I can't remember the specifics. But basically it's like, oh, are you excluding biological lesbians or something like that by allowing trans lesbians to participate in this particular event? So like they were literally just excluding themselves from the event and then blaming someone else. Could I turn up Laura a little bit? I can try. Can I turn you?
Oh,
yes,
hi.
I can turn your volume up, I think.
Hello. Hi.
How do I?
And I'm going to talk while you sort that out. What I will say is, I find it fascinating. I find it absolutely fascinating that the media coverage in other countries is media coverage in the other countries isn't as bad. What we've seen over here in the UK press is that the right wing governments like to, obviously, and all governments like to control, have authority by scaring you, and there's got to be something that you are afraid of for them to say it's okay, we'll protect you. After 9/11, it was Muslims for a decade.
Mm-hmm.
Then it was all immigrants, and it kind of still is. But thanks to Steve Bannon, who came over here and advised our current government, the Conservatives, talking about culture wars, it's now trans people. Trans people, the easiest wedge. It's the last taboo that no one's really... Not a lot of people have met a trans person. It's the last big taboo for people to be scared of, and they're doing a very good job at it. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that's not where Australia is at the moment.
I'm worried though, because there are politicians who are interested in investing in transphobic legislature. At least Mark Latham, was it Mark Latham? And the fascist party, the One Nation party. We literally have a nationalist political party, just out and out nationalist. But maybe it wasn't Mark Latham. I can't remember who it was. But
so I'm gonna interrupt you.
Sorry,
Abigail. I'm just gonna interrupt you and just say, for legal reasons, Abigail is a comedian, and that was a joke. So what were you saying?
Was ha funnies. At the very least, there is a political party led by, I think it's Mark Latham. I don't know. I'd have to go back. My memory's always fuzzy, but I've got certain details in my head. Who was trying to put forth a bill predicated upon the idea of like parental moral responsibility, right? So let's not teach kids in public and private schools about people who are trans, people who are queer, use of different pronouns and all these kind of things. Like, let's just shut all that down right now. That's the responsibility of the parents in the home, actually. And, they shouldn't be trying to sell their agenda, but using carefully fluffy language in their legalese to dance around it. But essentially, like, that's maybe... I think there may have also been an attached sports bill in there somewhere, but I'm not certain. I've been looking, is the thing. I've been looking for any kind of transphobia happening in Australia as much as, when I get the opportunity. Of course, the transphobia discussions are broadly dominated by stuff out of the US and the UK across the board, and occasionally stuff from Europe. But, whenever I go looking, I can find very little, which is good, but also bad, I guess. Like, I worry this stuff might be more subversive, maybe hidden in the trenches of Facebook, waiting to seep out like the anti-vax movement that's been infiltrated by the far right. I mean, not that anti-vaxxers are any good in the first place, but there was a point I was going to continue on with this, but I've lost it now. But there's...
I mean, no, but it's scary how it might be infiltrating Australia, and it just feels relentless, and I really hope it doesn't get to the point it is over here, because I tell you what, it is up. I have been on Twitter for 14 years. I love Twitter. I met my wife on Twitter over a decade ago. I've met some of my best friends on Twitter, but in the last 6-7 years, it's become a cesspit of absolute horrid bullshit, and I am actively depressed by going on Twitter. And we all know that Twitter's like, we all know that Twitter's like the most hateful place, because it's on Facebook, it's kind of everyone's in their own groups, everyone's on their own profile pages, so it's not really open public hatred. But on Twitter, everybody can just be like, "Hey, I agree that this person's a fucking prick, and I'm going to tell them." And it's like, "Oh, great!" And then you'll get the right who think they're so clever, and they just change the narrative ever so slightly, or they warp a narrative. So it's like, so it's like, Abigail. Here's the thing: you care about safety as women. You care about women's safety, don't you?
Yes, I do, of course.
So you are against trans people then? Great, we hear it first. Abigail doesn't want trans women to be in public. She and that's the way they do it. They'll ask you a very simple question. Who could argue that they don't want women to be safe? Of course we want women to be safe. I want them to do much more for women's safety.
You know what's weird to me? Like, I had this interaction today. Was it today? I think it was today, yeah. With someone who made the distinct point. Like, there was I think it was a picture of a wedding reception or whatever, and someone was holding up a flag that said, trans people can drink at the bar, or something like that. You know, on a trans flag, you know, just holding this up. Trans people are welcome at the bar. It's like, okay, cool, awesome, trans acceptance, we love it. And this person responds in the comments, they're not, like, trans women are not welcome in my jail cells, though. And, like, my first thought is, okay, you're more concerned about continuing the prison industrial complex as long as them trannies don't share cells with cis women. That's your primary point of concern here? Not the fact that the prison is a notoriously abusive system on its own face.
It's just my mind boggles when people think prisons are a good thing, and like it's not something we'll get into, but like honestly, I am just when people can't see the bigger picture is I think that's what the governing right parties count on is that people don't like people are struggling, they're financially struggling, life is just a barrage of shit unless you're rich. And if you're rich, you don't care. So if it's a barrage of shit, you can only take in so much news a day before your brain has to shut off and forget things. Which is why, especially our government, when they've got something really shitty to announce, we'll have our clown Prime Minister Boris Johnson go into a hospital without a mask on, because everybody will talk about that instead. Or they'll make a stupid announcement, which then they'll U-turn the next day to take up 3 days of press coverage. So that then the big scandal of them taking billions of pounds for a COVID track and trace system that doesn't work isn't talked about as much, because our brains can't comprehend more than X amount a day.
And minority groups in society, you know, when you paint a picture of trans people in this particular instance, are easy to hate. It's easy to draw ire to them if you just if you just say, look, this trans person did something bad. Clearly, that means all of the trans people do something bad. Or you use that article from the BBC where they specifically sourced transphobic social media sites. They asked like 80 participants in that survey on very specifically turfy areas of the internet. And then, you know, said, oh, look, a scientific survey said that trans women are rapists. And then, of course, there are in Australia right now, our government, especially Prime Minister Scott Morrison, is doing everything in his power to avoid net zero goals for climate change, which is a much bigger issue. But, you know, there's other things that people are fussing about, you know, at any given point in time with other nonsense news articles, trying to avoid the whole topic of the serious climate crisis, which Australia is directly contributing to in a big way with our coal mining operations and things of that nature. So, you know, net zero by, I think it was by 2030, not 2030, 2050, I think. You know, they're not doing anything to reach those goals because it's not profitable enough. And they would very much like that story to, you know, be swept under the rug in favor of, here you go, here's something else to be outraged about. Net zero by 2050, apparently. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, and somebody in my chat just said the distraction over here is a high-speed rail line, and it's relentless, and it's easy for cis people. If you're a cis person, it's very easy for you to be distracted by these things. And just know, as a trans person, you might not be seeing the stories about how the LGB Alliance is making waves on whatever, or how the government are contemplating making jail terms by assigned gender at birth or assigned sex at birth instead of a gender recognition certificate, which is something that almost came into law over here last week.
Which
And
can I
it's-
just speak to that point for a moment?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
there is an actual serious issue to address in that. If those people who want trans women to go into men's prisons, for example, it's very distinctly an issue of retributive justice, especially when they go on about how X percent of trans women have committed, X percent of trans women criminals committed sex crimes or whatever. They specifically want to send trans women to men's prisons because they know what's going to happen if you put a trans woman in a men's prison. They're not going to be safe by any stretch of the imagination there. So the whole masquerade of, oh, I care about women's safety, that's why trans women belong in men's prisons and not in women's prisons. They just want to put certain people in more danger under the guise of keeping this other group safe, which is nonsense.
Yeah, no, completely. I forgot what I was saying.
Sorry.
But it's fine. It's fine. But here's the thing. I'll talk about the prison thing slightly. Is that people are like, oh, let's send trans women to men's prisons because they're not safe in women's prisons. Let me tell you something. Only after like 6 months even after 3 months on hormones. Good luck me getting an erection. That's all I'm saying. What are you on about? I'm unsafe in a prison because you think I'm going to sexually assault somebody. I can't even have whatever. But all I'm saying is, right, life changes. The International Olympic Committee announced only 2 days ago that there is scientifically no benefit to a trans woman competing against biological women. Let me tell you that right now. You have to start listening to the science. And it's very easy to listen to the science and not look for it. Here's the thing I was building to. You've got all of this news happening. And as a cis person, it's very easy to be distracted and not to see these things, not to hear these things. Let me tell you, as a trans person, as a trans woman, even if I follow Abigail on Twitter. I've muted Abigail. I've muted Laura Kale Buzz. I've Laura Kate Dale. I've muted basically all of my trans friends and all of my right-on ally cis friends who talk about trans issues, and I do it on a month by month basis. I'll unmute everybody. I'll mute everybody because it's depressing. It takes an emotional toll just hearing this news constantly, and that's because I follow my friends, my trans friends, because I need that community. I need the community of people that I enjoy the company of, or I enjoy just seeing their joy in life. Seeing when Abigail posts a selfie going, "I look cute today," it warms my heart. Not only do I think, "Fuck me, she's fit," but also I think I'm so happy that another trans woman is happy. Seeing trans joy helps my dysphoria. It's absolutely wonderful, and it's rare. So I follow these people, and I have to mute them from time to time because it's painful to see this, and I see it because as a trans person, we have to talk about it because we're enraged, and as a cis person, you probably don't see it. And what I will say is, please go look out for certain accounts, people to follow who talk about this, and talk about this with people. If you want to be an ally, my thing is talk about it, not just with trans people, but with cis people. Say, have you heard about this? If you're having a coffee with a group of friends and they're all cis, and you're cis, why don't you bring it up? Oh, that fucking transphobia stuff, that's shit, isn't it? I mean, if you got any advice,
make a joke about trans people just in passing, if you hear someone make a joke about a bloke in a dress or something along those lines, then it might be a good point to bring in those articles and anything else that's and yes, it's regrettably Trans Day of Remembrance. Is that today or tomorrow? I'm not sure.
I think it's tomorrow. I think.
Which is and I mean, this is the thing. Like I've noticed, at least a month ago or so, I was a lot more doomer on my timeline, and recently I've been sort of trying to pivot more to lighthearted jokes and stuff like that. I've made several "I'm banging your mum" jokes referring to gender critical talking points about biological sex. Like this morning, I said, "Sex is immutable." Yeah, definitely when I'm doing it to your mum. Like this dumb shit like that instead of I'll still bring in the heavy shit occasionally, but I'm trying not to make my entire timeline. What's the political hand wringing? I suppose I don't know. Airing all that grim, dark, dirty laundry. Yeah, trying to lighten up the feed a bit more on the Bird app.
Well, I've always enjoyed you being right on, and I think I enjoy watching your streams when I'm not streaming or when I enjoy raiding into you because you always talk with authenticity and from your heart, and it's always lovely to see and hear. But I will say this clearly for everybody: I have muted Abigail multiple times, and I've muted my other trans. I've muted my other trans friends multiple times because I've been like, okay, I'm not in a headspace to hear about how other people think I'm a cunt. So I'm just going to take a break. And if you're a cis person, as Abigail says, if you hear somebody tell a joke or you hear somebody talk about this, stand up and like if you hear somebody misgender or dead name or whatever behind someone's back, fucking correct them. Mm-hmm. Fucking tell them, no, that's not cool. You're an idiot. You're an arsehole. You are a cunt. Say it. Say it with your whole chest for me, please. For Abigail. For your other trans friends. For people that you don't even like. Hey, there are trans people that I know who I fucking hate. And while I'm bitching about them, for legal reasons, I don't know who that is. But there are trans people there are trans people who I hate, who I will still get their pronouns right while I'm bitching about them, because it's the basic level of respect. You can't, if you hate me, you can't be like, oh, that Laura, he's such a fucking horrible man. The basic level of respect and of humanness is Laura Blake. Well, she's a cunt, isn't she? That's fine. I'll allow you that.
I'll cop to being a cunt just as long as you address me correctly. I mean, even if Caitlyn Jenner is in the discussion, I mean, this is, I shouldn't say even, of course, the same sort of thing. She, her, all the time. And I'm like one of those people that can't even conceive of Caitlyn Jenner as anything but a woman, honestly, because quite frankly, I didn't know who Caitlyn Jenner was until she was Caitlyn Jenner. So,
wow. I mean, you didn't watch wow. That's what a privileged life, not ever having to watch the Kardashians.
I actively avoided that the moment I knew it existed. So
yeah, I didn't know who they were until about 5-6 years ago. My wife was like, "Wait, you don't know who the Kardashians are?" and made me watch all of it, and I fucking hate myself for it. So don't let your partner or anyone else do that to you. Look, we've been talking about serious stuff for so long. Abigail, who are you? Okay, what do you do apart from streaming? Because it's so like we jumped in. Like, what do you do? Like, what how do you have fun? Who tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, I mean, on the subject of the PS5 that I placed half a pre-order on, the other half was my girlfriend, by the way. We split it 50-50. I'm a huge fan of From Software games, so Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro, and the upcoming Elden Ring. So I'm mega keen on Elden Ring. I got to play in the network test recently. I meant to do some bug reports because I did get some bugs and I wanted to pass those on to From Software. But yeah, like that's aside from being transgender, I'm one of those flag waving transgenders. That's look.
Oh my god, you've got a flag in the background. Oh
my
god,
whole personality. Oh, except for the fact that I got a whole shelf of Dark Souls things over here, and then like all this other video gaming stuff. I have a pet spider. Her name is Vess, named after a character from the Witcher series.
No, I'm out. An Australian with a spider. No, thank you.
She's in a glass cage. She can't hurt anyone. Although I can see her at the moment, but she's all the way over the back. I honestly love creepy crawly things. I'm a bit of a goth. I have quite a fondness for horror aesthetics, particularly body horror, which was something I was going to do a video essay on for my YouTube channel for Halloween. I really had this idea in my head, which I never worked on because I was dealing with a whole bunch of mental stuff throughout the entire month of Halloween. Conveniently, I was dealing with horror up here, and I had this great idea for a video essay, which I never got to do because of that. Which was, let's do a video essay on the subject of body horror, so things like Cronenberg, The Thing, other things like that where the body is twisted and contorted. I love all that sort of stuff. And dysphoria. Let's talk about dysphoria and also body dysmorphia and how those issues are conveyed and related through body horror media. I may still do that at some point. But yeah, I have done a few video essays. My most notable one is sports. Guess what that one's about? take
I wonder.
a wild stab in the dark.
I think it's about the 1992 Olympics.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And also, my most recent video essay that I put effort into was Socialized Male, which I'm really happy with how that turned out, which was specifically about that transphobic narrative of, oh, trans women can never be women because they were socialized as men, and then I sort of explore those ideas and what that actually means. So, you know.
So when I talk about my masculinity and being socialized male, should I not use that terminology then?
I mean, you still can. There's definitely worth to the term.
Oh, do you think? Okay, great.
But I think it's generally dragged out by people who are trying to demean trans people by saying, you were socialized male, you couldn't know what it's really like to be a woman. And it's like, get off. What about tomboys? What about daddy's little girl who likes to go four-wheel driving and was basically raised as a bloke but is still a chick? You know? She was probably socialized male, wasn't she? But they don't... There's a lot of girls... I've met a lot of women who were daddy's little girl. And not in the little pretty princess way. Like rough and tumble, playing soccer with the boys' daddy's little girl. Cis girls. Cis women. And yet, were they socialized male? I don't think so.
I'm just drawing something now.
Yeah.
As you talk, because there's something that is really important
now I'm
that
curious.
people don't really understand. And here it is, right? Hold on, I spelled cis wrong. Okay, so this is what people think womanhood is at the moment. People think you have women and trans women, and they're two separate things. Where actually, cis women and trans women come under the umbrella of woman, and this is how this is.
Women.
Yeah, this is how it needs to be thought of. But this is how it's framed all the time. Is that it's side by side, not underneath the umbrella term of woman.
You know my least favorite one that I keep seeing? Trans-identified men or trans-identified males. That's like
again, so this is them trying to be sneaky, just changing the narrative.
Yeah, it's like, oh, what's wrong with it? It's technically true because of the biology or whatever. It's like, yeah, but no one's using that term aside from you wankers, are they? Like,
but also, here's the thing. Maybe I'm just dumb, right? But when TERFs, and I say that, I should explain it because I don't want to be accused of being hateful towards women or towards people that are. But TERF stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminists. I'm not using it as an insult or a slur. So they trying to change the narrative. People say TERF is a slur. I don't agree with that. They're capital letters. They stand for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminists. So, but essentially, the idiot second wave feminists, and they always use a dictionary definition of a woman, which is adult female human. Now, in my brain, that describes me. I'm an adult and I'm female and I'm a human. That I don't understand. I don't understand. And I don't think I still understand. Yeah. How is that an insult?
It's not. It's just they literally think the dictionary. This is an argument. Well, not an argument, but this is a point that I made recently. Is that most transphobes in general, and particularly those that appeal to biological reality and dictionary definitions and all that, they're just doing an appeal to divinity. And I used to be a fedora tipping atheist, so I'm going to just like recycle some of those old talking points that I used to have. Is that these people believe there is one strict view of the world when it comes to gender, and that is that gender is sex and biological sex is immutable and all this sort of stuff. It's like, do they not understand what science does? Do they not understand how science operates? Because science didn't just stop when that guy found chromosomes in 1886 or whatever it was. Science kept going. We discovered more and more things. And especially like the point of adult human female. I hate to use this term, but you know, we can... well, not to use this term, but to frame this idea. But it's kind of true that the terms male and female have become gendered in addition to being sexed. You know, so we refer to male biological traits like testes and small gametes and all that kind of nonsense. But, you know, you could also refer to a group of men as a bunch of males. You can use that as a gender term. So I think adult human female still refers to trans women. It doesn't exclude us in that regard. And I absolutely want to get an adult human female T-shirt just for the lols. Just
I think
to
I'm
shit
gonna-
post IRL, you know.
Okay, yeah, I think we should. I really want one with a trans flag.
Yes.
Please, that'd be great. Please,
Get the
on a
text
trans flag
on a
that says,
black tee with the trans flag overlaid behind it. So
yeah,
like,
that'd be great.
yes.
If there's a drop shipping shop that does that, that allows your profits to go to charity, we will set that T-shirt up tonight. I will gladly do that.
Redbubble.
Or you can just do it and take the profit.
I've been meaning to set up a merch shop again. I haven't had one for ages.
Teespring's great, I think.
I should do Teespring. I used to have Redbubble.
Yeah, Redbubble's very expensive shipping. If you've got any questions for myself or Abigail, please come over to my chat and use the channel point redemptions. It costs 1 channel point. It's very easy. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube and you don't know what Twitch is, don't worry about it. I do have some questions already in, but I will go to my chat. Who says Dracorath says I've started calling them farts instead. Feminism appropriating recreational transphobe. I like that, a fart. I think so. You know the term sod, like, oh, you're a silly sod, actually comes from like being a sodomite and like anal sex.
I didn't know
and, like,
that. I never heard
yeah.
that.
So in the UK you say silly sod a lot, and it's because somebody's gay.
my
Is the
God.
origin for it.
I only
But here's
found
the
out about
thing.
the sus thing recently, like from Among Us. You know, everyone's saying, "Oh, you're sus," and sus has always been a thing in Australia as well. I didn't realize that sus used to be the same kind of thing as like, "Oh, I'm sus on that bloke," as in, I reckon that bloke's gay. So
Interesting. I didn't know
I did
that.
not know that until Among Us blew
Oh,
up and everyone
no.
started talking about the word sus.
I did not
Turns
know
out
that.
it's also a homophobic thing.
So sod. So like growing up, everyone would be like, oh, "You're a silly sod, aren't you?" But actually, it was about that's the origin. But if you look in the dictionary, a sod is a piece of turf. I think we should start calling the turf sods because it's a homophobic term that we can use against the turfs because
Oh
it's a
my
piece of
God.
grass.
That's perfect. I
So
did know
from
where
now
you were
on-
going with the, you looked it up with the dictionary thing. I already pictured, like, I know
Yeah,
what
yeah.
sod is.
But I think we should start calling them sods. And I will do from now on. So if you're a turf, you're now a sod. And you can't change my mind about it. So I've got some questions. I'm going to ask if you want any more questions, please do. Children of Chaos 89 says, as a cis chick, what can I do to help online, in streaming or otherwise?
Ooh, good question.
What I will say is, can I jump in for this quickly? Because I'll give you time to think. If you're a streamer, I would love if you put your name on the screen, or if you have a lower third that comes up that introduces you, or even if not, having pronouns on the screen
Oh, yes.
is a really easy way. Now, I don't do it only because I say it every fucking 5 minutes, but it's a really easy way to do that, especially as an ally. But also, there's a pronouns extension, which is a third-party thing, which is very easy to install, and just create a command. Just tell people to set their pronouns, download the extension. It just, for me as a queer streamer, it makes Twitch feel more accepting, more welcoming. And also, if you do set your pronouns using that, I instantly think, you're a good person. I don't have to worry about you being a troll.
True, which is it's a weird thing, isn't it? But in the grand scheme of things, as it stands right now, pronouns in bio, so to speak, is generally, a flag of someone who is trans accepting. The more that you do that, the more you see cis people doing that, the more it normalizes it when trans people do it, right? Because of course trans people started doing it because of the concept that people might be confused. So it just clarifies. Oh, my girlfriend just made me hydrate. But yeah, that's definitely a good one. Like pronouns in general, social media as well. If you want to show that you're an ally. There's like a very tiny thing.
We'll just wait for the drink. Thank
that
you.
Lara6683 does. Well, she doesn't do this, but she has she plays piano, and on her wall behind her is a whole bunch of posters and all these kind of things. And just like down in the corner over here, there's there's a little pride flag, little gay pride flag, and a little trans flag. Just little stickers on the wall, which is kind of cute. Short of that, I don't know, honestly. Like, what do you do aside from being active in your discussions around your acceptance of people, I suppose. Because I think one thing a lot of people seem to miss if they're a content creator is providing some kind of insight into the person. I've watched so many streamers where the only commentary they'll offer is whatever it is on the game they're playing. And I think it goes a long way to dip into your personal views on things, even if you're primarily a gaming streamer. But it's worth noting, it's worth, mentioning if there is, for example, the BBC News article that recently came out. It could be worth saying, like, during downtime, let's say you're waiting for a lobby in, I don't know, do you play Call of Duty, Fortnite, whatever, taking that moment where there's nothing happening, just be like, oh, did you hear about this thing? Just wanted to let you know I don't really agree with the way they framed that article. I think that's really irresponsible towards the trans community, especially. Like, just sort of make those little hints, not necessarily hints, like, be outright about it, be forthright about it, of your support. But, even subtle ways like that can go a long way, especially if you have an audience, to make it clear that, this is a place that's accepting towards marginalized queer folks.
And also, a note to support that and to really suggest that you do that is that as a streamer, I always find my audience connects with me more when I display vulnerability and
Yes.
I talk about myself, and I talk about myself in a very raw way. And I don't think you need to share everything, and I don't think you need to. I think you can keep whatever you want private, and that's your choice, and that's fine. But showing a bit of vulnerability in your opinions, but also just in your life, and like saying, oh, actually this is happening to me, or this is happening to my friends, or I'm sad about this for the trans community, and actually having a moment of vulnerability, I recommend to streamers, because it allows your audience to connect to you on another level that they won't do with Ninja, for example. So yeah. And also another thing that I would suggest if you're a viewer of Twitch, it's Trans Awareness Week. If you're watching somebody stream and they're finishing their stream, why don't you just gently say, "Hey, hi streamer, it's Trans Awareness Week. Which trans person are you going to raid? Have you thought about raiding a trans person?" There are lots of people I don't respect who have Happy Trans Awareness Week in their title or on screen even, but will then raid a cis person. It's very easy give somebody the viewers. As a marginalized creator, it's hard to get viewers. It's hard to get noticed. It's hard to get people to take you seriously. And these are the things, either while they're streaming or before, saying, "Hi, streamer," in Discord, "Did you know it's Trans Awareness Week? It would be lovely if you could think about raiding a trans person this week."
And the tag system makes it a lot easier now. We've got the transgender tag. We've got all the different queer identity tags and others. I mean, honestly, the Australia tag's pretty cool too. I could click on that and raid someone from Australia if I felt like it, or autistic people similarly. But yeah, that kind of thing. Also peer-to-peer.live. I don't know if you've heard.
Peer-to-peer.live is great.
Yeah,
I'm on
that's
it.
A good one. Yeah, if I'm looking for someone new to raid, I'll generally go there first. But I should honestly click on the transgender tag that I literally have on my stream, and go find new trans people to raid down that road. But that's always a good one.
As an Australian,
to interact with more and like collaborate with trans streamers if you're able to, share the love, share the viewers.
As an Australian, have you discovered Mincredible?
No, that name is not familiar to me.
Well, you will love him. I'm gonna share a link to him. He's a Australian person of color who, oh my god, amazing! You're gonna love him. Okay, so next question is from Kixie Wixie. It says, "As an agender person, I see so much performance in people, and feel the expectation of gender performativity strongly. Do you feel that trans people are expected to perform their gender more than cis people?" I mean, that's a one-word answer, and that's yes, no.
So wait, what was the question again? I'm confused.
Do you feel that trans people are expected to perform their gender more than cis people?
That's tricky. I'm honestly thinking about this, and I'm like, that's a convoluted answer, because I want to say yes, because being trans, you're expected to, like a lot of people expect you to just sort of do the opposite to what your assigned sex at birth is. But by the same token, I look at the vast majority of cis men and cis women and I'm like, you are very distinctly expected to perform a certain way. I know if you deviate, you are going to catch eyes, you are going to get remarks. You know, if you as a woman or you as a man decide to go away from whatever is expected of a man or woman, then that's not going to reflect well on you, socially speaking. It's like the thing that some transphobes have co-opted this idea, and I'm just broadly referring to any and all transphobes, gender criticals, TERFs, or just
all of the sods.
All the sods. One thing that I've noticed this is generally a gender critical argument, actually. This is generally a GC argument, because they're critical of gender when in actuality they're really not. They're the inverse of that. They'll always go, oh, you know, it's perfectly acceptable to be a feminine man. And I'm like, bullshit. Like, don't give me that nonsense. Have you seen the way feminine men are treated? It's not socially acceptable. Not by a long shot. And even then, I'm not a feminine man. You know, I'm a woman.
No. I mean, look, feminine men are fine, right?
Yeah, they are.
Society still thinks they're idiots and creeps and perverts and paedophiles. But, again, it's stupid and wrong. Like, if you're a man but you're a bit feminine, fine. Who cares? Trans women are not feminine men. They're two different entities.
Mm-hmm. But generally speaking, there is still going to be a lot of umbrage thrown at any man who decides to present feminine. If there's a man who decides to wear makeup and wear a skirt or color and style his hair a certain way, speak with a certain tone and inflection, he's going to catch flack for that. Absolutely. It's not a... You know, so there is the expectation upon men and women who are cis to perform their gender by the same token that trans people are expected to perform their gender.
I think there's a slight difference.
There's a slight difference,
the slight difference for me is that if you are a cis woman and you don't want to put makeup on, you just want to tie your hair up and wear jogging bottoms to go to the shop, people might think you're a bit scruffy. People might think you're poor, but they're still going to treat you like a woman. Yeah. If I walk out the house without makeup on and my hair tied up and wearing jogging bottoms, they're either going to think I'm a man and treat me completely differently, or they're going to think, oh, you're a tranny. Oh my god, and they're going to abuse me. And I, to feel safe, have to go to this level of performance in public.
True. Even if I'm just going out, I still put just eyeliner on to sort of exaggerate my eyes a little bit, because I noticed that makes me look quite distinctly femme. I mean, one of the saving graces of the pandemic is the fact that everyone's wearing face masks. So, you know, I can cover up most of my face, put some eyeliner on, and I still look pretty femme with my hair down. So I've got that going for me, which is nice.
I think that answers that question. Draco Wrath says, I have a question for Laura. She mentioned some other people she had on the show for Trans Awareness Week. Were they all trans women? Have you had a trans guy on? I asked because the tendency in the media is to overlook trans men. We haven't had a trans man on yet. I've asked a few people, and as always, there's conflict. There's booking conflicts, and Trans Awareness Week, a lot of people are busy. And the people that I know, I've asked. I don't feel comfortable asking random people to do this. Abigail is somebody that I don't know massively well. Like, I really respect Abigail, and I've been into Abigail streams a lot, and I followed you for a while, and I really like you, but I still feel uncomfortable asking you to do this and not being able to pay you. So I've asked people that I know, and the trans men that I know, I've tried to book, and they've all
the Rogue Room appreciates
or
your
they emotionally
recommendation.
don't feel up to it. We also haven't had a trans person of color on, and that's exactly the same reason. They're either very busy because it's Trans Awareness Week, or they don't feel safe in public. And it's a very important thing. And Draco, thank you for asking that. It's something that I'm still trying to address. I want to talk to a non-binary person, which we haven't done yet. I want to talk to a genderqueer person.
Sterling on, you reckon?
I don't know who that is, but I'm taking that it's a joke.
We mentioned non-binary people. The first person to come to mind is the Gymquisition.
Okay, well, maybe I'll take some recommendations from you, Abigail. But yeah, I think we've got somebody for the weekend. But these are kind of the way the cards fall. But Draco, thank you for that question, because it is something I have wanted to address. So thank you. How does the UK look from the outside? And that's from Manic Land Lizzie. How does the UK look from over there? Are we Turf Island? Sorry, are we Sod Island?
Hang on a second. So I'll just answer this in chat. My audio was really loud because I got gain turned up so that you're a bit clearer, Laura. I don't think the UK is necessarily turf. Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? Is, you know, you hear a lot of turfism straight out of the UK, right? All the time, seemingly. And anytime I interact with any turfs on Twitter, which is my own failing, I really shouldn't do that. They tend to hail from Great Britain in some respect. I don't think that's necessarily the entirety of the case, though. You know, I think there are certainly other things that I could look at regarding the UK, but that's just, I think the reason that's my main exposure to it is because I interact with that news specifically. It could actually benefit me to look into what else the UK is doing, generally speaking.
Oh, it's horrible. I wouldn't. It's absolutely fucking horrid. G20's in G10. G20 is on this island, and yet we're still pumping raw sewage into the sea and the rivers. It's great. We've got a question from AJ Emeraldar who asks, if you could do anything besides what you're doing now, what would it be? What would you like to be doing? I imagine it's what you're doing, but is there anything? I guess is there anything that you're not doing at the moment that you want to be?
I don't know, honestly. I'd like to be acting if I could, but I don't think I have much of a future in that particular field, especially now. I suppose if I had the opportunity to do this, I would like to throw back to the From Software stuff before. If I could be a notable From Software content creator playing games like Dark Souls and all that kind of thing, and, you know, building hype for the next game coming out or exploring things that most regular players wouldn't have thought to explore. I really love the idea of doing, in particular, a lore run of Dark Souls where I go through the game and I, you know, pay close attention to every line of dialogue, read every item description, all those kind of things, and sort of turn that into content, hypothesize fan theories of those kinds of things. Or I'd like to be a writer. I'd like to write fiction, which I am currently working on something which I need to brainstorm a bit more, honestly. But I have an idea for a story that I'm writing at the moment. I've got about 1,000 words in the prologue written so far, so...
That's so exciting!
If I could publish a book, I'd be happy, especially if it becomes, you know, a bestseller or something, but I doubt it.
That's so exciting. Well, I can't wait to read it. I'm sure it's a way down the way, but I can't wait to read it. And Mincredible, yeah, I'm sure it will happen. I'm manifesting it for you. And actually, Mincredible, who we were talking about, has asked, I would love to know what Abigail's favorite video essay that she's uploaded is.
I think it's still Socialized Mail, which is my most recent one. You know, I think as I've done a few of them, I've learned a few things on how to structure them and all that. Although sports is the most... this is the thing, it's definitely a toss-up between sports and Socialized Mail, because sports is more of just a smackdown on the whole anti-trans women in sports discussion. It's just like, I found everything I could to just shut your shit down, guys. Here you go. Have it. Take it. Socialized Mail was a much more personal video essay, I think. And I genuinely enjoyed how that one came out, even if it's like 50 minutes long.
I haven't seen it yet, but I will. I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see that now. What is your YouTube channel? Is it just YouTube channel? Is it just youtube.com/Abigail Beck?
Yes, Abigail Beck. Yeah.
So it's very easy to follow. You are /Abigail Beck on Twitch. Mm-hmm. And your Twitter is the Abigail Beck, right? Yeah.
I think every social media outside of Twitch and YouTube is the Abigail Beck, because I couldn't get Abigail Beck on those other sites. So, like, I think it's Twitter, TikTok, Instagram are all the Abigail Beck. I don't upload to TikTok anywhere near as much as I probably should, honestly, but I also can't be bothered most of the time. I don't understand TikTok.
I mean, that's wonderful. I can't recommend everybody go follow Abigail on these platforms. Oh, feel free to mute her if she depresses you, and then unmute her a week later.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like unfollowing people, especially fellow trans women, but I do have to mute people sometimes just because it can be too much, and that's okay. Um, Abigail, what are you doing? Are you doing the Rouge Room every day still?
Yeah, I used to be doing like Fridays used to be my gaming night here on the Rogue Room, but I've switched it to just 5 days a week, 9 p.m. Australian Eastern daylight time at the moment, but Australian Eastern Standard Time other when daylight savings is not on. Stupid daylight savings. But from 9 p.m. till about midnight, Monday through Friday, we sit here, we talk about all manner of social issues. We always have some kind of trans-related topic on at some points during the week. And we also cover, mainstream news. We talk about climate change fairly regularly-ish, and whatever else is going on. Sometimes we just get stuck on a tangent for like an hour or two, which is just loads of fun.
And you are so right on. I really cannot recommend you enough. If you're an Aussie, if you're anywhere around the world, make sure the time zones work for you. Go follow Abigail on Twitch and all the other social platforms. What I will say is that if you have Amazon Prime, if you're watching this, if you liked what you've heard from Abigail, if you've got Amazon Prime, you can give $4 of jet. Is it $4 in Australia, or is it still $5?
I don't know, honestly. How much does it
You can
equate
give
to?
You can give no in Australia. How much is a sub? Is it $4.99 or $3.99?
It's $7.99 Australian dollars.
Woo! So
Of
you
which
can
we
give.
actually get less than 50%, I think.
But that's bullshit.
By calculation, I think it ends up being like $3.50 or something.
Well, look, you can give the equivalent. You can get free $7.99 worth of subscription to Abigail for absolutely free if you've got Amazon Prime. You can take it out of Jeff Bezos' wallet and do it for absolutely free. And I can't think of a nicer person to. So go to twitch.tv/Abigail Beck and subscribe. And even if you don't have Amazon Prime, you can just give Abigail some of your money.
You could
and
do
I
that.
would
I have a coffee, yeah.
Oh, you have a Ko-Fi. So what is it? ko-fi.com/.
The Abigail back.
The Abigail Beck. Go buy Abigail a coffee. I think it's what we. It's the. You know what? I'm gonna go do it as soon as this stream finishes. So please go buy Abigail a coffee right now. Thank you
coffee.
so much.
Thank
You
you
do.
for
Well,
having
look.
me.
No, thank you. Honestly, it's been really wonderful chatting to you, and actually being live on your channel as well. It's been a simulcast between our channels.
It's been good.
So
hey?
thank you so much. I can't wait to chat to you soon, and have a wonderful evening.
And you too. Have a wonderful day, I suppose, because it's, I don't know what time
Yeah,
it is for you about now, about like
midday.
Midday.
Yeah, midday.
Excellent.
So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Bye.
Ta-ta. I don't know which camera to wave to.
It doesn't matter. Bye.
Bye.
And that was Abigail Beck. And thank you for watching the Pride Guide. I am Laura Blake. My pronouns are she, her. And I stream Monday to Friday every day on Twitch, 9:30 a.m. GMT. Thank you so much for watching the Pride Guide. We're going to have more episodes coming up. You can watch it all on YouTube.
I don't know how to
If
leave
you
the
are
call.
watching this live on YouTube, please go and support Abigail where you can. Her usernames are Abigail Beck or the Abigail Beck. You can.
There we go. I was still in the Zoom meeting. There we go. Okay, that was me chatting to Laura Blake. Hey, Laura Blake. There we go. I technology was broken as all heck. Go follow at HEYLauraBlake. Well, it's not at. You don't use ats on Twitch. I mean, you could if you wanted to. My room is really warm for some inexplicable reason. And before I forget, before I put my music back on, I'm going to turn the gain filter off on my desktop audio. There we go. Window still open? Yes, it is actually. I haven't changed it. There we go. That was fun. That was loads of fun. So there we go. I'll turn the music back on really quickly. While we sort of wind down for the last half hour stream, there was something I wanted to talk about with you. How did you like that? What did you think of that one? Have we had any more subs tonight? I'm curious, because I think our sub counter is broken again, and I think it's because everyone's just like trashing on Streamlabs lately, and it's just broken their internal systems. Let me turn back on my alert box and my chat box so you can see yourselves. There we go. Anyways. That was fun. You only got here at the end, but it seemed cool. It was cool. It's always, I never know what to say when I'm having a conversation with somebody else on stream because, of course I'd like to read chat. I'd like to respond to chat. Streamlabs isn't updating at the moment. I think... do you think, like, Logitech just went through and cleaned house? Possibly? And, like, Streamlabs is going to be gone next week? Or maybe, like... I don't know. What's going on at Streamlabs? I'm curious. Because like a number of things on my stream are Streamlabs things, and now I'm going to have to change over to Stream Elements or something. You got to go to bed, Knife. Have a good one. Thank you so kindly for hanging out tonight. I appreciate you. Saw a speedrunner do a joke cancelling Streamlabs Prime 80% run the other day. Oh, she's 11 follows from 1,000. Hell yes, go follow. Go give her a follow. All right, so hang on, my audio, my stream audio is too loud. So we'll Grim is redeeming hugs. That's a good idea. Let's get some hugs. If girlfriend is awake, I'm assuming girlfriend is awake. Oh, she's not out. She's not out there. I'll have to wait. Hang on a second. They have announced they are rebranding to distinguish from the OBS project, which is good. Yes, they are now Streamlabs with a full stop. Like I think it's not lowercase, is it? But they actually got rid of Pokemon and Pokimane, whatever. And Matt Heafy from the Streamlabs homepage. They're gone now. They used to be on there as like a testimonial to the goodness of the service, and they've been removed from it. Pokimane especially at her own request. I don't know if Matt Heafy requested it, but babe, hugs.
You can do hugs.
Hugs. Hello, meow. Hello.
That was good.
That was good.
You did a good job.
Thank you.
Show those abs off.
Show those abs off. Ab stream. They got rid of I'm an anus. What? What? Echo could use a hug. As a trans woman, it's nice to see love for the trans community on Twitch. That it is. I genuinely enjoy when I see love for the trans community on this platform. Even amidst all of the nonsense that goes on towards trans people. I want to show off my spikes, by the way. I got spikes. I don't know if you've seen these, but look. I got like spike. I can't call them earrings. They're not rings, but like, I want to show these off. They're studs. They're spike studs, basically. And they're not gauges. No, they're just like stud earrings, stud ear piercings. Because like I wanted the look of having gauges without having to bother actually stretching. They're just piercings. We are cute together, aren't we? I reckon we're pretty cute together. We should stick together, Ziwa. I reckon we'd be good. Yeah, I reckon we make a good couple. Do you reckon we should try that, hey? Yeah, I reckon we should be girlfriends. We should do like the whole lesbian thing and be like two women who are in a relationship. I don't think that's been done before. Fake ones, they're just literally screw studs. Hang on, I'll show you. I would not stretch my ears. I've never liked, this is the weird thing, is like I like the look of some slightly stretched ears, but this is literally the piercing right here. Right, it's just that stud there. Can you focus? No? Oh my god, you get the point. And that bit screws off. So, yeah, gay. There we go. Very super mega gay. And these are just my favorites now. Like I've got all these other earrings. And I'm like, no, I'm wearing spikes. Fuck it. Oh! New tip from Laura. Thank you, Laura. Goodness me. That's the first time I've heard the coffee thing in ages. It's not a Stratocaster, sadly. It's just an Ashton beginner guitar that I haven't played in ages. Oh, don't try the new Streamlabs monthly tip option, Botwick. I'm gonna have to go through. I mean, I'm gonna have to I might even have to get rid of Botwick, I reckon. Sadly, I might have to. If Botwick is Streamlabs chatbot, I might need to move on to another chatbot. But if I can, yeah, if I can call it Botwick, yeah. Sub off Twitch though, yeah. I'll go through all of my alerts and everything else and change it all over to another system, which is gonna be a pain in the ass. But I don't want to support Streamlabs anymore if I can avoid it. You'd kiss me on stream, but the cam point's too low. True. Stretch skin, you don't really see the appeal of. Also, people who get dermal implants of shapes or whatever sort of freak me out. I mean, I understand that too. You know, I once saw a guy like when I was getting my ears pierced, actually, which was almost a year ago now. When did I get that done? Ages ago. Oh yeah, Discord still calls it the Rogue Bitch Discord server. The Rouge Room. What was I going to say? Yeah, there was a guy who came in, an employee of the piercing shop that I went to. And he had stretched lobes like so big, like huge stretched lobes. And like the bottom of his lobe was just fraying skin. And I don't know if you've ever seen someone with stretched ears pull their stretches out. It's the most rancid stench you've ever smelt. Honestly. It's... Holy crap. Like, it's bad. It's horrendous. Anyway. Elfear body mods? I mean, I'd go for Elfears, honestly, if I could. Elfears are cute as hell. Hell yeah. Oh, goodness. That was fun. That was interesting. That was good. I want to do more sort of collaborative streams like that, but of course, as was mentioned by Laura, like, coordinating collaborative streams is always a pain in the ass. It's very fortunate that tonight's little interview coincided with my own stream, so we could just co-stream it. Gotta go. Thanks for chatting to you. Have a good one, Mama Llama. Or Mama Llama. Yeah, now I've got to find something else to talk about because I've got what, like 20 minutes of stream left, and I got no other plans. I've got no other points ready to go. I mean, I've got bookmarks on Twitter. There was this one thing. If we want to continue on the trans thing. Oh, hello. New tip from Panda Grenade. Thank you, Panda Grenade. What's this you've sent me, Clara? Is it a video? Oops, an error occurred. Okay. That was a weird thing to wake up to. Oh, it's Elfear mods. Why is it not working? Yeah, it's not loading. That's strange. We already did the ROGD thing, which was funny as all hell. Oh, my cat's here. I could just look them up. I've seen them before. Oh, well, this is just piercings. I don't want piercings. I have seen people with these done. I wouldn't mind getting them done, I suppose. Like, they're cute enough. You know, that looks photoshopped. I don't know if I trust that one. That one looks... I think that's real. Where would you get them done, though? That's photoshopped. Why is it all photoshopped? That's fake. That one could be real, I reckon. But there's also these things. You can get these little things that sit over your ears if you want to. Sam. Let's look them up. Oh, I don't know why the page didn't load. Must be something wrong with Instagram. Yeah, there we go. There we go. So that gives you an idea, you know. You could probably go to a plastic surgeon. There's probably like certain body modding places around that you could go to. But yeah, I reckon they look kind of neat. I'd probably get those done, I reckon. Maybe. You'd have to look up, yeah, body modding artists near you, I think. Make sure you go to someone experienced. Definitely, definitely. You need to go to someone who's got a lot of reviews, who's got a lot of clout. Oh, well, we're not... I gotta change the title now. What do I change the title now? Hang on. I know. There we go. It's a dangerous title. Let's see what it gets us. Woman with opinions on the internet. How dare I? Can you even imagine it? I wanted to talk about this really quickly that I saw earlier. We did briefly tap into this, but we didn't actually explore the article before the interview started. You want horns, but not like the dermal implant horns. You want like horns for real. Yeah, so do I. How would you sleep with them though? How big would they be? How big would your horns be? Like finger length? Bigger? I wouldn't imagine they'd be too much bigger. You would have... Pardon? Yeah, mine are tucked away somewhere. We saw my horns the other night. I should get them out again. Get some big old ram horns. They're like this big or bigger. How big are we going? How big are we going with horns? Because you can just wear a headband that has horns on it. Sleep on your back or side, you could. Abby Horny. I mean, yeah, like... Is this a big enough size? Is this too big? Is this too little? I don't know. What kind of size horn is ideal for someone who wants horns? You know, friend Cat Lady Katya used to say that she's wearing the scariest costume ever for Halloween. A woman with opinions. It's a question for me to answer. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. But here's the thing. Let's talk about this article before we wind down. The de-radicalization of an anti-trans activist. I think, did I read this whole thing earlier? I think I did. Oh god, it's way longer than I thought it was. It goes down to here and it's like, whoa. This was something I was looking at today, and it basically boils down to, let me go through this. This is Alicia Henley, the woman in question, right? Who was an anti-trans activist, or was a TERF. Yeah, I summarized it at the start of stream. And basically, she got really deeply entrenched. She basically got radicalized by common sense kind of opinions, generally speaking. You want horns you can pull on, if you know what I mean. I thought for a moment you meant, like, pull them down onto your head, not, like, grab onto, like, handlebars. But anyway, let's take a look at this. So this nascent anti-trans movement known as TERFs, to its opponents and some neutral observers. To its proponents, however, the movement is more commonly described as gender-critical feminism, which we're all aware of at this point. A euphemistic rebranding of trans-exclusionary politics that tries to pass it off as something more respectable and enlightened than it is. For my part, I will use gender-critical here to emphasize that no matter what name it goes by, the movement is transphobic to its core. Wouldn't using the term TERF be more relevant then? But I suppose gender-critical, I don't know. I mean, that seems to be the word that the GCs, the TERFs, the transphobes, the sods, whatever we're calling them these days, they seem to like the term gender critical for now, at the very least, until, like, it's slowly being more and more demonized, and eventually they're going to be like, oh, hey, I don't want to use that term anymore. It's a slur, because TERF is now a slur, apparently, according to them. Already, gender-critical feminism has its apostates, people who initially participated in anti-trans activism. That's a weird thing to say, though, honestly. Anti-something activism. I mean, anti-racism activism would be a good thing. But anti-trans activism is like you're just literally pointing the finger at a marginalized group. How is that activism? I know that's just the wording used in this particular article, but you know there are GCs who genuinely think they're activists. And I'm like, what is activism about targeting a minority group? Sometimes intensively, but have desisted. I love this point in the article here. These ex-gender criticals are rarely profiled. Detransitioners, people who begin but later stop gender transitioning, sometimes becoming anti-trans themselves, figure much more prominently in the media discourse on transgender rights. Funny how that works out. So-called gender criticals themselves are to thank for this. They like to bandy detransitioners around as proof that trans people's experiences of gender is not real, that trans-affirming medical care is too easy to access, and that people can, in the end, be rescued from transgenderism. Well, yeah, their perspective is that they're defending women, which is absurdity, honestly. If they were defending women, then trans women would be included in that. Which, the entire gender-critical, TERF, transphobe movement can be distilled down to, we think trans women are men who are sexual predators. That's it. That's the entirety of their argument. Right. The relative absence of ex-gender criticals from the public consciousness does a disservice to trans people and our allies. So it's a good thing this article was published. Trans-inclusive feminists have much to learn from the experiences of ex-GCers. That's a term, GCers. We're going to try to use that one more often. For one thing, the trans-exclusionary movement is not nearly as solid as it might appear from the outside. It is possible for even hardcore members to join the cause of trans inclusion. For those who hate trans women, this shift is necessarily a kind of de-radicalization, a turn from extremist to moderate views, and it needs to occur on a systemic scale. The rhetoric of anti-trans... The rhetoric The rhetoric... What the fuck, Abigail? The rhetoric of anti-trans feminists gives the public the permission to hate that makes physical violence against trans people more likely to occur. This makes it more than merely an intramural exercise to resolve the controversy within feminism over the place of trans women in trans women's favor. If trans women are to enjoy any kind of lasting safety, the organizations dedicated to excluding them from women's spaces, and indeed Canadian society at large — this article is published from a Canadian perspective, by the way, for anyone who was curious — will need to be dismantled. The anti-trans gender-critical networks that support these hate groups will need to be deconstructed. Whole communities will need to be de-radicalized. The pressing question is how to make this happen, and to answer that we need to hear stories of those who've been de-radicalized themselves, the stories of the ex-gender criticals. I'll tell one. The making of a transphobe. It was the fallout from trans woman Jessica Yaniv's unsuccessful campaign to force estheticians say that 5 times fast. Estheticians to wax her genitalia that set Alicia Hendley on the path to radicalization. She still considered herself a trans ally in January 2019 when she connected with Morgane Oga. Did I say that correctly? Morgane. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by words. Then the vice president of the BC New Democratic Party. Allegations were circulating that Yaniv had engaged in predatory behavior online, in at least one instance targeting a 12-year-old girl for sexual harassment. Hendley, a sexual assault survivor herself, was concerned. How is your honey doing today? I checked it. It's a bit bitter. I think you need to do something with the bees. Oga suggested she try to identify some of Yaniv's other alleged victims, so Hendley reached out to Irish transphobe Graham Linehan. I'm sorry, just the fact that people are reaching out to Graham Linehan, of all people, is hilarious to me. True, she and the gender criticals on Twitter had not gotten along in the past. I saw them as transphobic and bigoted, Hendley explained to me. The GC has disliked me and I disliked them. A lot of insults were tossed about. But the gender criticals were the ones talking about Yaniv the most. To their mind, Yaniv's behavior confirmed their worst fears about trans women to be true. Surely then, a gender critical as prominent as Linehan could connect Hendley with the right people. This is the thing, right? This is the, Katie Montgomery has one of her very shitty cartoons on this, which is basically someone who considers themselves to be a pretty leftist-leaning person who just happens to hate trans people, getting rejected by other leftists or getting rejected by whoever, and then some Nazis come along and they say, "Hey, we hate trans people too," and they just go off as I don't have to find it, but that's basically how it boils down. Is that, you know, that where let's see if I can find the cartoon here. It might be in here. I can't remember. She does a lot of these, so let's see if I can find it. Basically, the plot synopsis is that the transphobes will reluctantly share space with fascists. In this circumstance, it's just literally Graham Linehan, but you know. Yeah, the gender criticals were the ones talking about Yaniv the most. So the people I hate the most are unfortunately sharing my viewpoints. What does that tell you? The road to hatred isn't necessarily paved with hatred. It wasn't for Hendley, whose descent into the bowels of anti-trans activism was as much a trauma response as anything else. Linehan referred her to others in the gender-critical movement, and Hendley quickly found common ground. The GC has speculated that Yaniv might not be a trans woman at all, just a man abusing gender self-identification, there's that again, to prey on vulnerable cis women and girls. Hendley found this possibility terrifying. Perhaps the man who assaulted her could do this too. Perhaps he could do this to victimize her daughter. Radicalization is a highly personal and individual process. That is one of the reasons it is so difficult to combat. But it often flows from the unsatisfied needs that lead people to seek fulfillment in extremist movements and ideologies in the first place. There could be a need to heal from some earlier trauma, for example, and to feel safe from further victimization. The transphobic, erroneous claim that permitting gender self-identification exposes women and girls to male violence stoked Hendley's fears. Joining the gender criticals in their crusade against the rights of trans women in turn gave her a way to resolve them. It's not grudging, they're happy to join hands with Nazis. I suppose so, probably. I dare say that there's probably more like Hendley here, who've got some trauma related to this, which just, you know, any little slight push will, yeah. By April 2019, Hendley was publishing an article in Feminist Current about her rejection of trans ideology. She was active on the gender-critical social media platform spinster.xyz, and by the end of the month she was banned from Twitter, lol, for posting what she now characterizes as transphobic tweets. I find it funny, you know, I'm curious what it is that Graham Linehan did to get banned on Twitter. Like, I'm aware of the fact that he's been banned on Twitter for a while, but he's, like, literally never come back. But, you know, he makes sock puppet accounts, right? So he can keep track of the transes. But it's like, who gets banned from Twitter? Like, Donald Trump? What? How bad was Linehan to be completely stripped of his rights on the site? What was he saying? What was he doing? I can understand getting a suspension or something, but he must have been saying some pretty heinous shit. I'm pretty sure he's known for being banned on Twitter for being a transphobe. You love my horns? I love my horns. They're good horns. They behave themselves. Thailand is awesome. I've never been to Thailand. I think I had the opportunity to go once, but I didn't. From founder to former. The path away from extremism is highly personal too. Hendley still has far to go on hers. Shortly before her Twitter ban took effect, she issued a call to action via that platform and Spinster. The time had come for Canadian radical feminists opposed to the existence, rights and social acceptance of trans women to organise. After all, the United Kingdom was already home to a number of active gender-critical groups. Why wasn't Canada? The end result was Canadian Women's Sex-Based Rights, also known by the acronym CAUSEBAR. Officially launched in December 2019, the organisation has quickly become the national face of the Canadian anti-trans movement. Initially, however, only 5 other women joined Hendley's crusade. Hendley had few social connections beyond this small group, and her gender-critical views only calcified as she began meeting regularly with its members. We were one groupthink, Hendley explained to me. An echo chamber, a hive mind with our mission to be protecting the sex-based rights of girls and women. That meant cis. It's wrong, and more than a little counterproductive, to assume the people who join or even found hate groups do so because they lack intelligence. Hendley herself holds a doctorate in clinical psychology from the University of Windsor. As CAUSEBAR became increasingly established and started acquiring new members, Hendley put her academic training to use in drafting the organization's public-facing positions on several key issues, quote-unquote, facing Canadian cis women. Issues like the need for sex segregation in washrooms, change rooms, and hospital rooms. Cis men already violate women's privacy in washrooms, she argued, in a write-up on the CAUSEBAR website. To assume other men will not follow suit pretending to be a woman. This is the thing, is like, if a cis... And I always say this, I'm always saying this. If cis men are already violating women's privacy in washrooms, pretending to be a woman isn't going to stand in their way. It's not going to stop them, you know. Now that anyone who identifies as a woman may enter a woman's facility is obtuse. To be sure, it was specious research that led her to publish this and related statements. You know, he went through a period of directly accusing trans women of being pedophiles, groomers, etc. Not sure if it was that or not. I do recall, like, I think it was not Kirst E. I forget what her name is. She's got a Medium page that she publishes to fairly regularly. If I recall correctly, Linehan did take pre-transition photos of her off her other social media from when she was literally, like, underage. She was a minor. And I'm talking like a young teenager, if I recall correctly. So he's taken photos of someone who might have been like 14 and posted them on the internet to drag that person in particular. Not Grace Lavery. The so-called she-her pronoun. What's her name? Gemma Stone. Gemma Stone, if I recall correctly, was the one. Who, Linehan actually took photos of her from her social media from her as a teenager, posted them on probably his Substack page and his Twitter page, most likely, as an attempt to drag Gemma Stone, right? It's like, here, look, this person used to be a young boy. And I'm like, I'm sorry, do you think that's normal behavior? That's going to get people on your side? Anyway, it's time for a nap. I mean, it's midnight. It's probably time for a sleep, honestly. I should stop reading this article and go to bed. Also, there are facilities where men might need to enter the women's washrooms, if that's where the only diaper changing room station is. Yeah, exactly. also just considers also just like this whole thing here. This to assume other men will not follow suit pretending to be a woman. Like, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but sexual assault is far more likely to happen. It's not commonly a crime of random, what would you call it? It's not really a random crime. Sexual assault and rape and all of those kinds of things generally happen between people that know each other. I mean, not that the random aspect of these crimes doesn't happen, but it's inferring a lot, that statement, honestly. And yes, I am up late, Solace. How are you doing? Well, I'm up as late as I usually am. I recall spending an inordinate amount of time combing the internet for information that would bolster Korsbar's viewpoint, Hendley recently told me. I would ignore all the information that did not fit our core belief of the primacy of sex-based rights for cis girls and women, and most information I came across didn't support our views. Indeed, each case of violence against the cis woman that she identified was perpetrated by a cis man. So if they find any single instance, like, this is the thing, they will go out of their way to dive through as much piles of shit as possible to find a single instance of a trans woman being a sexual predator and then say, look, see, I proved it. You're all sexual predators, even if it's like, how many cis women sexual predators are there? A woman is 12 times more likely to be assaulted by an acquaintance than by a stranger. Yep, there we go. Gonna outright say this out of nowhere. Haven't been diagnosed with DID, but I'm currently trying to get a diagnosis at some point after I begin transitioning. That's understandable, yeah. Saying it doesn't happen, there's never been a recorded incident as far as you're aware. A recorded incident of which specifically? Because we've talked about a few different little bits here. Anyway, finding information that contradicted her beliefs about gender and gendered violence did little to shake Hendley's commitment to the gender-critical cause, however. Feelings tend to play a greater role in people's departure from extremist groups. Facts don't care about your feelings. Than rational thought or even ideology. Dissatisfaction with the day-to-day realities of membership, disappointment with how a group is pursuing its goals, and other rather mundane things are often enough to push people out. So what's this saying? Other rather mundane things like an analysis of terrorist disengagement events from 87 autobiographical accounts. I'm not going through all that. Hendley had a cult-like commitment to scrapping together proof of Korsbar's claims she now understands. Although she had an academic background, which I remember reading something about this. I thought it was in this article, maybe it's not. But basically, if you're talking to somebody who is radicalized into these kinds of things, and they have an academic background, it's much harder to de-radicalize them. It can happen, of course, but because they are convinced that they know everything because they went to college and got a degree, you know, it's a form of, I'd say it's a mild form of narcissism, essentially. It's like, oh yeah, I'm an educated person, so I'm sorry, if you don't have a PhD, you can't disagree with me, basically. Which makes it harder to say to them, look, your viewpoints are actually incredibly harmful. And not just to the people you're targeting, but to yourself and those around you, you know. No, it's out of nowhere, but you feel like this is the kind of place you can say it. You've met cross-dressers, sissies, femboys, whatever label you want to use. They're nice people, aside from the alt-right ones. I'm aware of the alt-right femboys, believe me. I'm completely aware. I've seen them. I've seen pictures of femboys with a big Nazi flag in the background. I'm like, excuse me, sir, how? But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Smart people are very good at being stupid. They can more readily justify their bad behavior. Yeah, exactly. They know how to read scientific texts to be as ignorant as possible. You need to head off, get a coffee, and something to eat. See you again soon, Izzy. Thank you so kindly for hanging around tonight. Anyway, although she had an academic background, she wasn't about to be argued out of her newfound worldview. The catalyst for her eventual renunciation of Korsbar was instead her frustration with the organization's deliberation procedure. She simply tired of making decisions by consensus, of engaging in the protracted group discussions that necessarily entailed, and of having to keep abreast of the group's frenetic internal message threads. When the Trudeau government introduced legislation in March 2020 to criminalize conversion therapy, Hendley volunteered to draft a brief outlining Korsbar's position on the legislation. She still believed that trans youth were simply gender confused and in need of the appropriate psychological interventions to help them sort out what was happening.
I see you
hello,
brought
Laura.
Guests.
Fancy seeing you here.
Friends.
Hello, Raiders. Hello, welcome in. I am the Abigail Beck. I'm now wearing horns. And my alt camera isn't working tonight because I was using it for Zoom or Discord or however that was working. How was the rest of your stream as you wrapped up there? Welcome in, folks. You cannot say I'm horny. Thank you very kindly.
She's very horny.
I'm very horny. That's why I'm wearing the horns. Big horny hours. Here we go. Let's put some fancy lights on. Trans rights are human rights. And we're talking about this article that I think I mentioned in the interview. I at least mentioned it before the interview. About de-radicalizing gender criticals. So, anyway, we're going to continue with this. But first, Madeline, I need hugs. Can you give me a hug? Can you come over here and give me a hug, or is that too dangerous?
You want me to bend down and give her?
Yeah, I want you to give me a hug. Okay. Hey, babe. That's the GF.
Okay.
Definitely are horny. Yes, I am. A little bit. Oof, and a little bit muscly, too. And it's a bit warm in here, which is why she's only wearing a crop top and short shorts. I mean,
This isn't even proper.
it's not even really a crop top. I'm halfway there myself, honestly. With my tank top, showing off the guns. Anyway. Sorry, you can't say, oh, you gotta get laser. Oh, goodness, I had laser last week. It killed me. It was so painful. If you don't mind me asking, is Madeline trans also? She can answer that question if she wants to. Look, she's a grower, not a shower. I'll say that much. Seen right-wing sissies as well. Seems like they consider themselves lower status in their groups and embrace an exaggerated femininity because they consider it appropriately degrading. Yeah, people's minds work in different ways. Anyways, hello Smudge. My cat's here begging for attention. Yeah, here we go. So we got a hug. I love you too, ferret. It says ferret. For anyone who's, it says ferret. Nothing else. Don't look deeper into that. Anyway, yeah, we're talking about this article called The De-Radicalization of an Anti-Trans Activist. Where were we? Here we go. The catalyst for her eventual renunciation. So yeah, we're talking about the fact that yes, you can indeed de-radicalize gender criticals and TERFs and all of that. In fact, I think it's more likely. I'm going to say this right now. This is just a speculation on my part. I think it's more likely that this kind of mindset, this kind of movement, the GC movement, TERF movement, whatever, and the constant continual rebranding is an effort out of desperation. Like the fact that we're seeing more and more of these people screeching about trans people is an act of desperation because they know their specific movement is slowly dwindling. And the more, unfortunately, and I think this comes up later in the article, the more that we try to argue with them, the more insular they become and the more tight-knit these communities become. And they become so much more galvanized in their transphobic views. And I've had this speculation for a while now that eventually we're not going to really have to worry about GCs and TERFs really being a thing. In the same way that, broadly speaking, don't get me wrong, there's still a lot of homophobia in modern society, but we don't really see much in the way of anti-gay groups these days, or we don't hear about it. It's not, you know, I've said this for a while now, that there was some pretty big homophobic discourse about 20 odd years ago, more so, like further back going. And eventually, gay people were just broadly accepted socially, generally speaking, in the Western world. The overlap between SWERFs and TERFs is almost a perfect circle. Oh yeah, that too. Now, of course, trans people are a smaller queer minority, so it might take a little bit longer to get these people to fuck off, but it does seem possible. It does seem possible for these people to realize how cult-like their behavior is. Anyway, where were we? Yeah, this part. So when the Trudeau government, we already read that bit, she still believed trans youth were simply gender confused and in need of the appropriate psychological interventions to help them sort out what was happening, which is still an ongoing point of the discussion. In the eyes of her fellow coalition members, the brief Henley prepared was too short and informal, but by the time she received that feedback, she was already losing interest in being so involved in the GC movement and tabled what she had written. Pandemic school closures meant Henley's children were at home much more than before. Her focus turned to providing them with the all-day supervision and care they required. Excuse me. Protecting sex-based rights began to seem less urgent. She picked up a new hobby, learning German, and found she would rather spend her free time on that. Cause bar meetings and action items fell to the wayside as that first pandemic summer dragged on. The other founders took notice. In December of that year, their long-simmering frustrations with Henley's flagging commitment to the organization boiled over during a squabble about her access to the Cause Bar Twitter account. A gender-critical friend of Henley's quit as a show of support. Henley herself followed suit minutes later. It was not a clean break, but then the transition from member to former often isn't. Hate groups often provide their members with a sense of community and belonging. The fact that people will lose that if they leave is a barrier to their departure. Can't you just join a sporting club? Can't you just go and play soccer or something? That provides you a sense of community and belonging. Why do you have to join a hate group? Why do you need to hate someone so badly? This is just an issue I have in general. Why are there hate groups? Can't you just not hate people? There's a lot of freedom in that. There's a lot of, emotional liberation from not needing to see a certain group as something for you to hate. Anyway, the entirety of the right is a hate group. Yeah, true. That is one of the reasons that formers can play such an important role in the de-radicalization process. So hang on. Also, during the gay rights movement, for example, a lot of cis gay people threw trans people under the bus to make themselves seem more sensible to society. It's still ongoing, honestly. There are trans people now. This is the thing, right? I've seen this a few times. There are trans people now who are trying to make themselves seem more reasonable by throwing NBs under the bus and throwing people with xenogenders and neo-pronouns under the bus by using the same exact tactic. They're trying to make sure they can secure as many rights as they can for the good transes and then pull the ladder up from under them the moment that they've got those rights. People like Blair White. Anyway. These are the people who once held but now reject violent extremist views and work to grow beyond the past. And this is the thing, right? Before we go any further on that subject, I want to make it clear, I am not for the division or the exclusion of certain trans people who happen to be the kind of ladder-pulling ones out there. I'm pointing out that it's a bad behavior, but the last thing we need is to drive another wedge in this community. Okay?
The Rogue Room appreciates your recommendation.
Three Bears, thank you so kindly for the host. That was really loud, sorry. If we throw the people under the bus, then we lose apart from the person at the very top, pretty much. And yeah, respectability politics, that's a whole discussion we could have. These are the people who once held but now reject violent extremist views and work to grow beyond the past, as the American de-radicalization organization Life After Hate describes them. And they can provide the hate group members who currently hold those views with more than just inspiration and empathy. Recruited to the fight against hatred, formers are able to build alternative supportive communities for these people that mitigate the social costs of leaving. The consequences for de-radicalization efforts are significant. Hello, Grimpy, how you going? Since extremists of various stripes are more likely to get out if they know someone else leaving, psychologist Clark Macaulay told the American Psychological Association it may be wiser to focus on shifting the attitudes of entire groups rather than investing in the de-radicalization at the individual level. Henley herself didn't have the benefit of a network of ex-GCers to ease her departure from Cause Bar, and it shows. I felt conflicted for months to sever all communication with people I'd become close to, and the movement I'd been a part of. This sounds very similar to many ex-Mormon stories I've read, where, they're raised in what is categorically a cult, and then when they realize the kind of environment they're living in, and they want to sever from that, they want to move away from that religion, if you can call it a religion, they put themselves at significant risk of having no social network to fall back on because that was their entire social network. Hello, Mr. Liam. How you going? I'm doing well. It had been a daily presence and focus in my life. Following the December fracas, is that how you say that? She authored a supportive farewell letter to one of her co-founders. She and her friend in the movement kept in touch for another 6 months, mocking certain members of the gender-critical movement who turned out to be anti-vaxxers and big pharma conspiracy theorists. Oh, fracas. Yeah, there we go. That sounds right. She reached out to 2 gender-critical trans women she knew in an effort to understand how they could align themselves with the movement. Gender-critical trans women. What the fuck? Henley was nevertheless done with gender-critical feminist ideology herself. With the benefit of increasing distance from the people who fed her anti-trans beliefs, she came to see that the ideology is founded on bigotry, falsehood, and lies. I'm from Australia. Where are you from? Disfellowshipping is a really cruel punishment, honestly. Well, yeah. It's unfortunate, but it's the reality of these kinds of situations. They heavily... It's like leaving... Honestly, it reminds me of the job I left. They were, the company I worked for was big on that whole, you're part of the family here now. That whole thing. And when I left, I don't think there's a single employee from that company that would still talk to me. Like, no one I used to talk to regularly when I worked at that company kept in touch at all. It was completely fucking wild. The moment I left, all communication cut off. And I'm like, holy shit, was I working for a cult? It was a supermarket chain. And like I had friends there. I had legitimate friends there that I hung out with outside of work who just stopped talking to me. Just because I left the company. It was wild. I don't feel like I was excommunicated, but like not a single one of them who I consider genuine friends thought to reach out to me on like Facebook or fucking anything. It was weird. Excuse me. I recognize that trans women are women and trans men are men, she wrote earlier this year in a Medium post about her departure. I consider gender critical thought inherently transphobic. This is the same as the Are You OK chain, yes. Despite this disavowal, the monster she created remains. How to stop arguing about trans rights. This might be a good point for some of us. Probably me. Henley is almost apologetic about the factors that led her to disengage from anti-trans activism. Yes, she was increasingly uncomfortable with the political alliances that such activism forced her into, with Derek Sloan, pro-lifers, and others whom she agreed with about the threat trans people pose to cis women and nothing else. And true, she had her doubts about the gender-critical narrative that every trans woman is dangerous and perverted. But I probably would have passively remained a member, she reflected to me, had things not come to a head with her comrades in rhetorical arms. I still can't get over the fact that I said rhetoric earlier. Rhetoric. Rhetoric. What did I say? Rhetoric. It's rhetoric. Rhetorical. Capitalism is a cult. What else is new? It really is, though. Trans women and our allies ignore that observation at our peril. Like, the moment you start expressing anti-capitalist viewpoint, all of a sudden these people turn into absolute bootlickers. It's weird. By now, there is no shortage of arguments in favor of trans inclusion and against transphobic talking points. Yet anti-trans activism and hate is on the rise in Canada nonetheless. That shouldn't be a surprise. Ultimately, you are unlikely to successfully argue people out of extremist views. Henley told me that she really hopes someone will evaluate Corsbar's transphobic arguments and pull each point apart. Rhetorical. Starting to get some semantic satiation already. But she herself found contradictory evidence while drafting several of those arguments, and it didn't faze her. Rather than argue ad nauseum that trans exclusion is anti-feminist and contrary to Canadian values, trans women and our allies ought instead to mobilize ex-GCers like Henley to combat transphobic hate. Whatever such people have done in the past, they are in a unique position now to pull others out of the gender-critical movement. That makes them invaluable allies. Recruiting ex-GCers requires, of course, knowing that these formers exist in the first place. I will forever be cognizant of the harm I caused, she told me recently, by initiating the creation of Corsbar, not to mention my subsequent involvement. That's on me and no one else. But it is not too late for her or any of the increasing number of ex-GCers out there to make amends. Let's not allow anti-semantic speech in this chat. Oh, well, there we go. What did we think of that, folks? I thought that was an interesting read, honestly. I wanted to share that with you because it puts certain things into perspective. It also just sort of... it's kind of a light bulb moment. Some of the points in there where I'm just like, well, duh, why didn't you think of that the first time? Like, it's obvious. Some of the things mentioned there are blatantly obvious. Like, there are people in these gender-critical movements who are genuinely just convinced that what they're doing is right. And then they fall down this pipeline of avoiding any single semblance of evidence that will prove them wrong. So, yeah. What did you think of that, folks? I had fun with it. I'm way over my regularly scheduled end of stream time. Do we want to move on, I think? I think we want to move on. To other stuff because I'm a bit sweaty and tired. And when I'm tired and I'm sweaty, it's weird. And I need to pee. Late at night with Abigail Beck. Yes, indeed. Seems that it seems written for either trans people or those who are friends with trans people. I mean, yeah, which is fine. I mean, not everything needs to be written for a broader audience. However, I think, can we get a link to the article? Let me just bring it up really quickly. Oh, no, this is not the right one. History. Recently closed tabs. Here we go. The de-radicalization of an anti-trans activist. You're new. Why is your name so familiar? My pronouns are she, her. There we go. So they might grab someone recently XGC into a friend group with trans people, and that might not end well. I mean, maybe. It could be an opportunity to educate. You never know. Anyway. I'm looking at my friends what are streaming at the moment. I'm not going to raid Chloe because she's playing Battlefield and Battlefield is ew. So who can we raid? Well, no. Fortunately, nobody is playing a Blizzard game. That's always good. What happens if I click the transgender tag? I wonder. Do you have anyone in mind, Maddie? I need a pee. I don't know who to raid. I'm stuck. Zashap has only 10 viewers. You like me, you think. Aim out, but you're a girl too. Transgender pre-everything. Ooh. Sounds like you've got an exciting future ahead of you then. Here we go. This guy looks familiar. This person looks familiar. Have I rated this person before? I don't know. We can if you want. Aussie, gardening, tech, dialogue, history, facts about reality. Well, I appreciate you saying it. Pardon? Plotsky is on. Playing Dead Space 3. Ew, Dead Space 3. But yeah, we can go, you know, we should go say hi to Plotsky, actually. Who's on a Be Right Back screen? God damn it. Guys, I need a piss. Seriously, my bladder is so fucking full right now, you have no idea. I should just go piss, girl. Pardon? Just raid and leave? Should I just raid and leave? What should I do, folks? Maybe just end there? No, I like raiding people. It's fun. I want to send my viewers to somebody. Grizzly's doing Pokemon. We could raid Grizzly. Grizzly's always fun. I hope I don't get stuck with another... Yeah, we'll raid Grizzly. Because Grizzly's live doing a... I could put Maddie in charge. We're going to raid Grizzly, who's doing Pokemon Diamond Pearl. I don't know if he's doing a challenge run, though. Grizzly usually does challenge runs. And if he's playing this, I wouldn't be surprised if he is playing one. But, you know. It's not in the title, at the very least. Or in the tag, so maybe he's just doing a regular run. Holy shit. Grizzly Gaming is doing a regular run of a video game. Can you believe it? Anyway, you also need to go to the bathroom, so you can't. Alright, well, I'm going to leave you with that. There's my socials if you haven't already followed all of those. Say hi for me if I'm not there by the time the raid kicks off. You've been lovely. It was awesome talking to Laura Blake tonight. Remember again, go follow. Go follow Laura Blake. And I will be live on Monday, 2 days time. It's my weekend, so be kind to yourselves and each other. I love your faces. I took my ring off way too early. And I'll see you when I'm looking at you. Bye-bye, sweethearts.